Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to Aimless Babble Z, episode 431. I'm Chris Adams, Tech and Master, joined by
RPG Maniac 05
and Trioptical.
So yeah, today we've got some what we've been playing. We've got a middle segment that is all about the PlayStation 2 20th anniversary celebration fest, Gush-Fest, because it was like the best of times, an age of experimentation and awesomeness, and just like, well, we're gonna do things, and it's gonna be weird. It could be terrible. It could flop. It could be awesome. Who knows? But you know, risk for taken, and risk for taken, or that's not the right thing to say on that. Wait, is that or whatever? Chances, risks, whatever.
Yeah.
Doing things, stuff happening. What's that? Dang it, I wanted to say something cool and I was like, yeah, I just ruined it. Whatever, dude. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, so yeah, Aimless Babble Z. So, what you been playing? So, I've been playing. Let's see. Did I play any... I think I've only been playing Destiny, actually. I've been playing... Okay, so the thing is I'm at like level 98, I want to say. 97, 98. You know, I'm like 2.5 levels away from the Season Pass max. And I'm almost there, man. And I can just taste it. And it's just like, I'm so close. So basically, I've just been like doing that, so I can just like not be able, or like that sounds weird, not be able to play it, but I can take a break before Trials of Osiris comes back and play other things, because you know I don't know. It's like I know I'm gonna be playing it a lot, and it's just I don't know. It's weird because I just basically grinded out all these levels to get to the Season Pass level, and I kind of want to take a break, but now I can't. No, I can't take a break because the new stuff's coming out, and it's just like, dang it. So I'll have like a couple of days, you know, to like relax and not play Destiny, but could not get past the in the glory rank. I could not get past Mythic 2. I hit a wall. I was like halfway up Mythic 2 and just could not get there. So no Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten for me. So whatever. Maybe next season, but probably not. Oh yeah, okay. Then I was like reading all these tweets and like all these posts on Twitter about whatchamacallit. I'm sorry, the PlayStation 2 20th anniversary. I was like, man, I'm playing some PS2 games. My PS2 isn't hooked up, and it's like boxed up somewhere in here. And I think the last time I tried to use it, it had like a disk read error, and I was like, dang it. So I'd have to like go and get it fixed or fix it myself. And I was like, well, that's not gonna, you know, stop me. So I was like going through the PS2 and PS4 section, which I have like every game except for like one, which is like the weird 3 Japanese games that like I've never heard of in like one package. And I was like, you know what? I'll just play one of these. So I kept wanting to go back and play it. So I finally booted up GTA 3, and it's like, man, let's see what it's like after so many years, and after like the just so refined version of GTA 5. And it's just, you know, it's still a thing. It still holds up. I mean, that version seems a bit like there's a lot of hitching going on as far as like the frame rate. It's kind of like weird. It's like not super smooth. Like it's like, oh, something's amiss here, whatever. Eventually it wasn't like as bad. Like it got less jittery the farther in I got. But yeah, it's still fun to like go and do missions and get paid. And but it's so weird because like the structure is like so different. It's like you do a mission, you complete it, you get money, and it's like that's the game. It's like it's so basic compared to like what it is now, and it's mostly just like driving and shooting, and it's just like. For so many of the beginning missions, you don't even get out of the car. I was like, wow, that's a very interesting. It's just like very interesting to like, you know, from like all of the games or like just all the iterations of it, like down the road that you've played, to go back to like I mean, it's the third game in the series, but it's like the first open world where they did like all that stuff that just like was like it was like the smash hit essentially that just like catapulted it into the, you know, the big one. And just seeing all the changes that they've done and stuff, or just like to see how it's very similar, but it's not, because like there's the radar is there, but there's no waypoints. So like you'll have the destination, but you have no idea how to get there. So I thought that was neat, because it's like you just drive down the streets and you're just like, okay, but then the faster you go, like the farther out the radar zooms, so you can like see where it's at. So it's just, and then like a car flips over, like there's like all these small things, like, you know, you can't go in the water or you drown, and like you take your car in the water, you die. So it's like you can't go in the water, you can't swim. If a car flips over, it blows up. So you can't like flip your car, it's gonna get destroyed instantly. The gunplay is terrible. I'll say that, because you basically can only lock on stuff and like run around while locked onto targets, and then just like switch targets while you're locked on, and like that's it. Like there's no cover system. There's no like slick cover to cover movements or anything. It's just very jank, very not as good as it is now after years of iteration and refinement. Yeah, and just but everything else is there. You're there to drive around Liberty City, and there's a weird like plot hole at the beginning, as far as not plot hole. I'm sorry, like a weird plot point that they like make to like cut you off from the other part of the city or the two other parts of the city. I thought that's pretty funny every time I play it. So it's like you get the very first part of like the Liberty City, but you don't get the downtown section or the suburban area later on. I'm trying to think like what the part is like in the second part, like why you can't get it to. I think they're like there's construction or something. I'd have to like play further on, but I do want to keep going back to it just to like get through. Except that is like also another thing I like about GTA 3 is like it's kind of a short game. You just play the story missions, you can get through it pretty fast. So I kind of want to just keep going back to it. I did not end up playing Final Fantasy VII because I just haven't been in the mood. My libido and my that's not the right word. I had this thought up earlier because I was like, man, it just I'm just one of those gaming moods where it's like I just don't feel like playing something, and I'm not. My spirits are so down that I can't play anything. I mean, I can, but it's like I don't want to play the thing I wanted to play because it's like of the mood I'm in. It will like it's just I'm just ugh. So yeah, that sucks. Is that all I played? Man, that's crazy. That's possibly. I think it is actually because I didn't play GTA. I'm sorry, I didn't play Gran Turismo, not GTA. I played Monster Hunter, but I've only been doing like the weekly hunts for the Celestial tickets or the Wyverian Prince. I'm sorry, whatever. Oh yeah, and then like the new monsters come out this week, so I think it's this week. It could be next week, but yeah, they're soon. So eventually that will come out, and I will be getting those captured or killed, and then guarding them up in the sweet armor and weapons. It'll be great. So looking forward to that. But I believe besides listening to, just I mean playing a lot of PvP obviously because I'm trying to sharpen up my skills before trials. That's basically all I've been doing. I just start the Eye of the Tiger or the Rocky theme, put on my headset, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. Dun, 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 and I could just go to work. And I mean that's not what I do, but like I pretend that's what I'm doing. So yeah. So but that's what I do sometimes when I'm playing that game because it's just like there's nothing left for me to like experience for the first time, and I've done it like 1,000 times, or just like listen to a podcast, and like that's my podcast game now, or just listen to sweet jams and like enjoy music while I play that game. And that's like so weird. I'm going like in aimless territory, but like just like one thing I want to say is like it's like a weird part or like weird moment when like you play the game so much that you no longer like play it with the sound on, and like you're just playing with the sound off. It's just like it's like a whole thing. It's like it's kind of like reaching nirvana, really. It's like like you're just like so. You're like in your element, and like you've ascended so high up that you don't even need the sound. That's how I feel. I'm like I'm so good, I don't even need the sound. So yeah, but like it's like another level, and that's all I've been playing. So somebody else can talk. What was I gonna say about my? Was it the libido? It was something else, man. It was just I had it prepared earlier. I was like thinking of what I was gonna say during the podcast, and I just like completely blew it. So I'm sorry, listeners, but Tekken has been like mentally damaged. Over the last couple of days, and hopefully things get better, but I don't think they will. So we'll see. Whatever.
Well, so when you say you didn't play Final Fantasy VII, you mean the actual game?
Well, I wasn't gonna play the demo because I'm saving my impressions for the full version, and then I just wanted to play the original that's on PS4 and like stream it, but I didn't start it up yet. So I did download it. So actually that is something I did. So basically what I did, so I have like okay, well I currently have 4 PS4s, but I basically went back and copied all my data to make sure it's all on like the my solid state drive pro. So it's like the guy's solid state drive, so it's got like load everything fast and play everything fast. And so I went back and basically copied everything, all the save data, and I copied all the share button stuff I wanted to copy off the old drives. And then I went to 3H1 and just copied everything off that I wanted to keep and PT, and then just like wiped all the drives and like delete everything to make sure that they're trade-in ready, so that whenever we do get some more PS5 info, I can just go to GameStop that day and be like, all right, dude, here's my PS4s. How much am I getting? I already looked it up online, so it's a pretty substantial sum. So it's like it should be a pretty good deal for me there. But now they're just sitting like on a giant stack of. I'm gonna tweet this out at some point this week, because it just looks so ridiculous, of just like the Pro with a Slim with the launch unit on top, or like a or no, it's like a Pro with a launch unit with a Slim on top, because the Slim's is small. So it's just like a giant pyramid of PS4s, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. Tekken, what are you? What have you become? This is your life. But yeah, that's something else I did. Not quite a game, but prep for next gen, because I cannot wait. And it was cool because like I went, like when I was like going through, I was looking through. I didn't like look at every share button video, but I was like looking at all like the non-Destiny ones, and then like some of the Destiny ones, because I was like, it like has a check mark if it's been uploaded. So it was like nice to go back and like look at all the memories of like Destiny and like Destiny 2, and just specifically Destiny. Looks like I don't play Destiny 2 as much, but like I played that game so much. I was like seeing all those share button videos and just like so much time. It's like so weird to like do that, and just like I felt like I was my own archaeologist or something, or like my own digital archaeologist, of just like going through and like looking at my relics of the past, of just like the first time we cleared Vault of Glass and I had like an Atheon's epilogue on. I was like, man, that was a long time ago. Or just like the dates on the files. They're like 2014. I was like, geez, this was 6 years ago. And it's just like, it's so crazy. Just like, wow. It was like all in one console generation too, and just like all the different games. It's like Mercenary Kings, Timbo, Badass Elephant, some Life is Strange was on there. Some Mirror's Edge was on there. I was like, man, I remember I was hyped for that game and I just didn't like it. And just some Arkham Knight was on there, and I was like, Arkham Knight. Just yeah, I didn't look through barely any of the screenshots though, because I've tweeted most of them out. It's like all that stuff that's like out on my Twitter feed is like, it's like whatever. So it's like I'm pretty sure all that's like saved and archived for future generations, and there's so many to like go through too. So it's like it was so weird, like, as I didn't like really realize how many screenshots I took. I was like, geez, I'm never gonna like be able to look through all these, and so I didn't bother with it. But yeah, we had fun, and it was like weird getting like sentimental about some inanimate, just physical objects. And I was like, yeah, hopefully they've given me thousands of hours of fun and entertainment. Hopefully they can serve someone else well in the future, or not, or be like dug up in like a billions of years from like an alien civilization of like, oh, these humans, or like maybe they like scan it and they like get like some speck of my DNA or like something, and they're like, oh, let's bring back this Tekken person. Well, what were their experiences like? They can tell us in the flesh, but it's like just a clone of me, so it's not really me. But then cause that's not how clones work. But it's like, yeah, my clone will tell them how did Tekken play the Destiny and all that stuff. So and oh yeah, there's like some Walking Dead stuff too. So it's like Clementine and all. Yeah. So it's like maybe sometime, or maybe or maybe not. Billions of years from now, aliens will know, or maybe they won't. Who knows? Whatever. But yeah, that got weird.
I don't think I've ever seen all 4 of my PS4s together before, so maybe that would look weird to me as well.
Am I the only one of us that doesn't have a bunch of PS4s?
Yep.
Do you even have a Pro RPG? Don't you just have like a normal one?
No, I have the launch, one of the launch ones.
Oh.
Mode.
Man.
I don't have a what?
Boost mode. It's a thing you can turn on your Pro that like makes games run better.
I mean,
Or super sampling.
Is it really necessary though?
I mean, according to Digital Foundry, some games that come out now run terribly on base consoles, so it depends on the game.
I guess I haven't had any problems.
So I think they said like one of the Red Faction games, I think it's like the remastered version, is just like it runs terribly on the base unit. So yeah. Also, there's sometimes when we're playing with Hobo in the raid, because he has like a base unit, and like his frame rates will just like get really bad, and he'll just like say something angry. It's like, oh, but bit not up to snuff in this section, Hobo. So yeah, or just like sometimes we'll have like frame rate issues and like well like he'll say something and like we'll be like, oh, you know he's having issues because like even our consoles are like having issues handling this. So yeah, which is kind of like weird because like in if you think about it, like maybe I shouldn't get PS5 at launch because like what if they do it again? It's like PS5 and PS5 Pro. But it's like, dude, it's like it's not about better performance at launch because you're not gonna need it. It's about playing the games because it's like and then later on you can just upgrade. So it's like whatever. So that's that's my thing now. Is just my thing now. I didn't do that until I think 360 when they came out with the Elite. Was like I had never traded in a console for another console, but like I'm all about the subsidizing of your console with like your current console. Like that's yeah. I just yeah, it's a smart play because it's like it's like a Full Metal Alchemist thing, equivalent exchange. You give something and you get something. It's great. It's upgrade, but it's better. It's better. It's like the same thing but better. So it's like, why would you not? So yeah.
Well, so I did play the Final Fantasy VII demo. I think it's gonna be really good.
Have you played
Counterpoint. It's
Have you-
not.
Have you played through? Have you played through 7? The
I
original?
have not completed 7.
Of course he
ever.
hasn't. What kind of question is that? Remember,
I
he
was
only
just
said he
making
only-
sure because
He-
I wasn't sure.
He said he
'Cause I
only
know-
finished like one. I think he's which
9.
one was it? The one that you actually? No, he didn't finish
Dude.
9.
No,
I mean,
finished nine.
Wait, I thought you had like your brother play through the end of 9 for you or something.
Mm,
Not
No,
the one
I
eight.
I don't remember. Please tell the story, Topical, because I can't remember.
for 9. So 9 was the one that I actually did play a lot of, but I didn't get very far. So I guess I spent a lot of time in combat. And then I lent it to someone who wanted to play it. And then eventually they got to the ending and they couldn't beat it. And they told me to play it.
Oh,
And then I
that's
beat
the
the game
one,
with their
okay.
characters. And so in
So
my
you
mind, it
finished the
felt
game
like,
actually
oh, I beat the
played it.
game. But that's not
He
true.
didn't
because-
say the narrator, but he didn't.
Yeah, because I've seen other parts of the game that I haven't played, and it's like I don't remember that at all. It's like, but that makes sense.
It's like, who the hell is Eco?
Okay, so which okay, wow, okay, just like so what's the one that you've played through, Topical? Because now I'm just like my brain is just like I don't even know, man.
I finished.
I remember your story about like 10 and seeing the ending or something, but
Yeah,
then
I
I don't
finished
remember
10.
like the one that you actually. Okay, so it was 10.
10 and 13 are the ones that I've played through entirely, and then
Good taste.
8 I got to like the end, but didn't finish it.
I'm not the only one. Yes.
Y'all gotta get good. Because I mean, if you get to that point, you might as well just finish the game. Like,
I don't know if I was bad. I didn't even try. It was just like the last save point outside, and it's like, save here? That's it. I don't think I want to go in there. And then 6 I played through. I'm pretty sure I finished 6 also. But it was that point after the thing where I was like, wow, I don't know what to do after this. But yeah, like the 7 demo is set at the very beginning of the original 7 game. So it's essentially the start of the game. And I think what most surprised me was like, well, the combat feels really good. And keep in mind, I guess I haven't played
Oh, it doesn't.
15 yet. But I sort of expected it to be like Kingdom Hearts.
it's not.
Yeah, it feels like even more towards an action game than Kingdom Hearts.
It's not.
It's not?
No. The battle system's way too clunky to call it anywhere near an action title. Because there's a lot of things you can't really do
Yeah,
that you
I guess
could
that's
do in
true.
other action games, so it's
That's
not
true.
really.
Just the sort of like the most basic, basically not even using the combat system, combat feels smoother than I think Kingdom Hearts felt to me. But then, yeah, I guess like in order to actually do well, or in some cases, like if you don't use any of the combat system stuff, then you will be stuck there for a long time. Yeah, all that other stuff I guess is not as smooth. But yeah, I think what most surprised me was how close to the original it felt. Because I was walking around, and then the way that it's paced in this first section, where like I remember distinctly there's that part where each member of Avalanche like goes up and opens one of the doors, and you're like in these rooms and you're trying to go through each of them. But because it was random battles back at the time, like I just remember it being very annoying to get through there. And they had like the same thing in the demo where it's like, oh, this is that room where that one person was doing the computer thing, and then it opened, and then everyone ran in, and then they had to do it again, and then you had a little bit more dialogue, and then like there was the elevator scene and all this stuff, and I was like, wow, they really did like. I mean, they didn't have to do it that way, but they did do it that way, and so that was really surprising to me. Like they kept a lot from the original. Even though, everything is different. Plays differently, everyone looks really different. They have the sort of flashback scenes that are more... I mean, there were some, like, weird parts, I think, in the beginning of 7 that I guess were supposed to be kind of like these sort of suggestions, but they're more overt now in the remake.
Ooh,
where it's very much like... it's got that Advent Children, like the way that they portrayed those things in there. So it's just, I'm pretty excited now. It's like, wow, it looks amazing and it plays pretty well too. It's just, it seems really fun. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird because like everybody except for RPG's reaction to it on Twitter I saw was basically, it's amazing. So I'm just like, okay.
That's because everybody's looking at it through nostalgia goggles. They're not actually looking at it in a more practical sense. Like if you were to actually like think about it, outside of either mashing the attack button to just force your way through it, you have to do a lot of micromanaging to play the game efficiently, and that is just not how you make a fun game, in my opinion. They do need to definitely tweak the partner AI if you're gonna, or at least give you a way to like, customize it yourself, so that way you're not like having this. You don't have to like switch between the two characters if you don't want to. You can kind of stick to a main and then let everybody do their own thing. But not only that, it seems like a lot of the commands are kind of useless too. So it's like blocking or dodging doesn't really seem to do much. You're still gonna get like hit no matter what you do. So it's like you're kind of just like only going through the motion sort of thing. I think blocking it does reduce damage, but it doesn't like really. You can't like special block or anything like. Well, at least like not in the demo. I mean, maybe they have like abilities and stuff to do it later on in the game, but it's one of those things. Like having played so many action RPGs and so many action games.
Yeah, RPGs having a fire alarm testing.
Yeah, it's like very annoying. I'm like trying to like talk, and then this thing is just coming on. I'm like, shut up! But yeah, so it's like having played so many action RPGs and so many action games. It's like it's kind of like you could see that they put some of those basics in, but it definitely needs to be refined before I would be able to be like, oh yeah, this is a well done battle system.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying. Like, so it really is the old ATB system in a way, except that in the past, instead of you like just waiting for those bars to fill, you have to push square to do attacks, and so all of your attacks fill your ATB bar, and then once your ATB bar is filled, then you can do like your actions. And so, but instead of like having attack as being one of those actions, like that one is just gone. That one's the one that you're mashing the whole time in order to build up your ATB bar so that you can use abilities and spells.
Yeah.
And then the way they set it up is like the AI partner never uses abilities on its own. Like that's just how it's set up. So then you have to switch. You either have to like they've set it up two ways, so you can hold down the right trigger, I think, to like open the command menu for the other guy.
Give them commands if necessary.
Yeah,
Good.
which it's always necessary. Like they haven't. I like when I encountered this. Like now that you're saying it's like yes, I can totally see like that is a really weird system. But for me, I felt like I guess it is like the lens of nostalgia. Is like, but also it's kind of like I appreciate how it's kind of clever. Like they didn't change. They have changed the battle system, but in some ways they haven't. Like it still depends on you using your menu commands to actually go get through the battles.
Yeah,
And
but
then
it's
like you
like
can't dodge everything or like negate all the damage. And it's like that's just like in the original ones because like in the original ones it was weird. Like back then you would look at it and be like, this is weird. Like we're just waiting to get hit until we can hit them back. And so like there is no damage negation. You can only heal the damage
but
you've
they
taken.
should if they're gonna do it like this because again, like having played because the next closest thing they have that they've released is Final Fantasy 15, which has well, I think they tweaked. There's a mode of Final Fantasy 15 that has like the tactical part of the battle system. If you want to switch to that mode, that is basically what they adapted to Final Fantasy 7 remake, except like they neutered it a bit, but because it's like they have a similar system where it's like the action will pause and you can like input commands for your other team members, which you really don't have to for 15 because they do kind of like do their own thing and they're usually like good about not getting murdered while they're doing it. So it's like you can kind of just like be Noctis and be done with it. Although I think one of their updates lets you switch between characters if you want to, but with 7, you can't. Again, it's like you said, it's very like it's like the old battle system, except that they kind of just actionized it a bit. So it's like you do still have the ATB and everything, and like you are just kind of like waiting to get hit and like reacting to that stuff. But I feel like it shouldn't be that way now because it's like they've already released like other action RPGs now. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out not too long ago, and then again Final Fantasy 15, and then it's like you're kind of like taking a step back in a sense because it's like, well, you've already done these things, and now you're taking versions of them, but then like taking out some of the more useful aspects of the combat, and it's just like I don't want to have to like deal with outdated systems just because you're using an old game. It's like you can still update it and keep your special parts in there, but it's just like update it.
Hmm. Uh,
Well, it can't be updated because it's gold, so.
Well, yeah.
I mean, guess technically it can because they can patch it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably fix it in like the other episodes or something later down once they get like feedback and everything. But like I said, I think a lot of it is a lot of people Final Fantasy 7 was like their favorite Final Fantasy. To each his own, whatever. But it's like so a lot of them like they're playing these things, and because I know that I've seen a few people on my Twitter feed saying they didn't like the demo. So I've had some people who kind of like share my sentiments with like certain aspects of the game. But it's like, don't get me wrong, like the game looks gorgeous, like there's like no doubt about that. So it's like they did a great job updating the visuals and everything, but it's just like it's one of those things where it's like if I'm going to be playing an entire game like this, then you gotta fix it, because I'm not gonna like I'll just get through like the first few battles and I'm just like, okay, I'm done because this is annoying, and like I'm not not doing this for another like 20 hours. Hold on a second.
Is it gonna go stop the voices?
Stop. Listen here, you.
It's like, working. I mean, like,
who's in charge here?
So yeah, I get that about this. I'm just wondering if it's actually bad this way, because to me, it doesn't feel outdated. And like when
That's because you haven't played it.
Yeah, I guess I haven't played the other ones, or I've played some of Kingdom Hearts 3, but I feel like so one of the changes they have is in regular combat, like Cloud has 2 different modes.
Oh yeah, apparently each of the characters has abilities like that, because Baird has his overcharge thing.
So like Square, you're usually just like regular attacking, and then they added a thing where you can hold down Square, so you can do sort of different combos, which do different sword moves that have different area coverage, I guess. And then yeah, when you push triangle for Cloud, he changes into a different mode where he moves slower and can't block, but he like does
Punisher.
slightly
Well,
more
he
damage.
can block. It's just he can't block ranged attacks. He can block melee attacks, and it automatically counters
Right.
when he does so.
Yeah, he does like a counter attack against melee attacks. So early on, you're fighting like the guards with the guns and stuff, and then later you're fighting those like cyborg guys that sort of are very fast and they run up on you and do melee attacks. And then against those guys, like there's sort of a strategy where there's also like the guard dogs in the beginning, and if you use your like regular like operator mode and take down the gun guards, and then use your Punisher, I think it's called Punisher mode,
Yeah.
on the dogs, then it's just like a lot
Oh,
faster.
speaking of, that's what the stagger mechanic.
Hmm.
So that thing, that's another thing that was annoying to me because I mean they've implemented it in their other games obviously because 13 had it as well. However, the way it's set up now, it's almost like they did it in so they can intentionally kind of like pad out some fights between certain enemies because it's like you almost have to get them in the stagger in order to kind of like do any type of like lasting damage to kind of get through the fights. Otherwise, you'll just be doing like chipping them off, which is what kind of made the boss battle a little bit kind of annoying, especially since you have to kind of micromanage the characters as it is. So it kind of just like drags out something that was already going to be probably a long fight to begin with to like just drag it out even longer. And it's like it's one of those things. Like I'm okay with games having like break and stagger mechanics in their game because most of the games I play now, or most of the RPGs I play now, do have them in some way, shape, or form. Because Trails of Cold Steel does have it too, but it's like that's just to add damage. It's not to like it's not like you have to do it in order to kind of like to get through the battles quicker or anything like that. So that's another thing too. It's like you're kind of like almost forced into like making sure you kind of like build up the stagger, which I mean both characters have abilities that let you kind of do that, but you do kind of have to be paying attention to make sure that you're using them before they like use the ATB for something else, and then you have to like wait for it to charge up again before you can use them. So it's like you have to, like I said, it's all like a game of micromanaging or just like press square to win kind of thing. So it's like there's no happy in between. It's just like one or the other there. So it's kind of annoying.
See, I'm coming in from it like from a different experience right now. Like my current RPG experience is Ni no Kuni, and like
Which
initially
also played poorly, by the way.
but you know, initially I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna power through it and just attack until you know I've grinded up enough XP so that I can just do that and win. And I got to a point where I could not do that at all. And so when I encountered this fighting the first boss, and like the two of them are like bantering and saying, "Oh, you gotta use magic and stuff." It's like, "Oh, okay." And then I did it, and you know, just having the stagger mechanic is like, I liked that mechanic, I guess, in Final Fantasy 13, and so here, well, so I'll tell you, like, I finished the demo once, and I sort of had it down, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it again. But now that you know, they've shown me what all the systems are, I'm gonna try to do it like well, and then you know, it sort of took me to this like entirely different level of playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's like, oh, now I see, like the other guy never uses his ATB, so every time you see their ATB charge like full, then you gotta switch over to the other guy, or you gotta, you know, push the trigger so that you can give commands to the other guy, and then it's just going to be like this extremely hectic you're just constantly pushing buttons and watching these meters go to, you know, efficiently get through each area. And you know, when I played through it the second time like that, I was like, wow, this is really exciting. I think this is going to be really good. But yeah, I I don't know, like so far I haven't found any of that to be annoying to me. The only part that I thought was kind of like, well, that was sort of weird was when I was playing it the first time. When Barrett first joins your party, it's like explained like, oh, you know, Barrett has a ranged attack and Cloud only has the sword. So these guys that are up on the roof or whatever, Cloud can't get to them, so you gotta switch to
So
Barret to
that
shoot
he
them.
can.
And I was like, okay. So you switch to Barret and you shoot them. And then later, like, they have a battle where it's like there's some stuff in the air like that, and then stuff on the ground. So I was like, okay, I switched to Cloud, killed the stuff on the ground, and then looked around, and I was like, the guys in the air are still there. I was like, Barret, what have you been doing this entire time that I've been
Watching
fighting
you
these
fight.
guys? And it's like, and so
It's like, Cloud's been doing a great job over there. Like, I should be doing something. But he wasn't doing anything.
like that part was kind of strange. It's like, wow, like if you're not doing the stuff for the other guy, their ATB and everything is charging way slower than the character that you're in control of. So yeah, like when it was that boss fight on the second time, like in order to charge both characters' ATB as quickly as possible, I'm just like switching back and forth between them. Hit, do all
Like
the
a
abilities.
madman.
Switch. It's like, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this. I have no idea what it's going to turn into when you have your full party of like 3 characters.
Chaos. Tropical. That's what it's going to turn into. Chaos.
Yeah, I guess that was really different too from Kingdom Hearts, and I did play the demo of Final Fantasy 15. Like, yeah, the other people do stuff in those, and then
Yes, they do.
Barret doesn't do anything in 7. Or he
You're
sort of
let's
does,
just watch.
but just like not as well as you were doing.
Noctis got this. It's fine, guys. Let's hang out back here. But yeah, that's my thing. Because it's like, I mean, again, it's just a demo, so it's possible that they've already like improved upon these things before they even released the game. They kind of just wanted to get the demo out so people can kind of get excited about the game coming out soon. So I mean, for all we know, like in the actual final game, like they've already kind of like worked out these kinks, and it's like the AI characters are going to be like doing their own thing, and you'll probably never ever have to switch unless you want to play as somebody else. But it's like from what I've seen from the demo, it's like that would kind of like discourage me from being like, oh, this is going to be an amazing experience, except for a frustrating one because it's like now I have to do this. And then considering that each of the characters, I'm assuming, because each of them have their own special abilities, that means you'll probably have to learn a different way to fight for each of them too, kind of. Because I mean, depending on whatever Tifa's how her fighting style works out with her being like the boxer punch person thingy, and then
Martial artist.
that thing, and then
Boxer punch
Aerith
person.
for as long as she's in the party.
You never know. Maybe in this game they'll add the long, sought after feature of saving her.
I was thinking about that, but I don't think it's gonna have a down
Do you think, like, this time, now that everybody knows, they're gonna just not focus on her at all?
No, if anything, they're probably gonna. Well, considering the way the game is set up with the whole episodic releases thing, they're probably gonna actually like focus even more on her, just so they can kind of like really like build up that emotional punch. Which is like for people who haven't played the game, they're just like, what?
Oh, not that. I meant like,
Oh,
I like back in the day, people would say, "Oh, she was like my best healer. Or she had all these
well,
stuff,"
of course she
then
had all her strongest abilities because reasons. So,
yeah, and then this time it's gonna be like, I'm not gonna use her. Like,
oh, you meant like if other people aren't gonna? Well,
Yeah.
Again, I think people, like I said, I think the way the game is set up, they're probably gonna force you to, because they're just gonna be like, she's in your party forever until
you
these
cannot
next
switch her
episodes.
out. You can
She's
switch out one of
always
the other two.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like they're probably
Love her.
Because even if you look at the trailers, there's a lot of like focus on her like running around with Cloud or sneaking around buildings and all this other stuff. Because like I said, I feel like they're really gonna try to like push it so that way it's really an emotional punch once it actually the thing happens. Just because I don't know who hasn't played it or whatever, but
I feel like it's either gonna be that or they're just gonna be like, haha, see, we didn't do it this time, and it's like enrage everybody. Like, this isn't the purity of the last of what it was the first time I played it. This isn't a true remake. Ah! So it's
Or
like,
make it happen elsewhere. Or like
that too.
soon
I was thinking
after
just, like,
where it was supposed
keep
to happen.
until the very end of like, oh, you thought she's gonna make it.
LOL.
It was like, oh, this was a beautiful scene. It's like, what the heck just happened? She didn't. Oh, wait, there it is.
or go the whole like self-sacrifice route of like, all right, this time we were able to get the holy material because I got it this time, but I gotta the only way to use it is to no, it just
Or
kick you in the
she can like
kick you in the balls
substitute
like
for
that.
Cat Sith in his part where he
Yeah.
where he just pops back up and be like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Oh, so you're still alive. I see.
Or I guess, they could go the HBO route and just like make it incredibly gruesome.
That is very true. With the updated graphics, it could be very unpleasant to watch if they really wanted to do this. It's like, all right, guys, this is what you wanted, right? Graphics. Oh, so I'm officially traumatized, and someone needs to
Oh
help
man, that'd be
experience.
awful. Because then there's the scene where they sink her, right? And it's like, well, she was so damaged, she just kind of floats.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Because I mean, even when you think, because I think they showed Genova in one of the trailers, and she looks yeah. So they might be actually going the whole. They might actually do that. It's like, all right, guys, this has been years in the making. We're going all out.
Gonna make it horrible.
It's like, so this particular episode is rated Super M because yeah. So yeah, that should be interesting once they get to that particular part, which probably won't be for another like few episodes, because if this first episode is focusing pretty much on just Midgar, it's gonna be like 20 episodes of this thing before they make any major headway. So again, that gut punch, they gotta drive it home. So it's a good
Wow.
thing I prefer Tifa anyway. So yeah.
Well, did you try playing it on classic mode?
Don't think so. Wait, did I? I don't know. I don't know actually.
See,
I think
I
no.
wonder if that's where. So, because like, what I was trying to do when I tried it the second time was like do it as efficiently as possible, which meant, yeah, kind of what you're saying, constantly mashing square, hitting the D-pad to switch the other person to mash square, switching back, using the triggers to like give commands, setting setting the shortcut keys to like do everything super fast. And then I tried classic mode, not through the whole thing, just the beginning, and just watched. Like the way classic mode is supposed to be is it's you take out the square mashing part, and they sort of do the square mashing part automatically.
I kind of would prefer that.
But it doesn't. Like, it doesn't do it the way that you would do it. You can still mash square even in classic mode, because like it's like it starts, and then since it's a demo, like the whole thing is tutorialized, so like there's constantly like you're closing the tutorial screens. But yeah, the first one was like, oh, you push square to attack, and then hold down square to do this other attack, and then I was like, okay, I read this the other time. I push options, went back to the game, and like Cloud does not immediately start doing stuff. He's like
looks around.
Yeah, he's like a lot slower to do stuff than you would be. And it's like, is this like is this the supposed to be pace of the game? Like people who are trying to do it super efficiently are going to be able to do it better, but then it's not like necessary to get through it.
Because it almost sounds like the way it works is like if you were to put like with 13 with the whole auto battle thing, and then you only kind of like put in commands when you feel necessary, sort of thing.
Yeah.
While they kind of just do all the work for you, so it's just like, oh, let me just adjust based on this sort of thing.
So, I don't know. I guess I have to try it again. Or actually play the boss fight in classic mode to see, like, okay, how is it supposed to be here?
Oh yeah, that probably would be the better test of it, because I just opened it up now just to test it to see, and yeah, he kind of just just walks around
He
and
walks
does his
around
own thing.
in guard, and then he's just
Yeah,
like,
and then he'll start attacking once he gets close enough, kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
it's like I wouldn't play like this normally. It's like,
and like the enemies, you think like maybe, I don't know, yeah, when you're faced with an action control scheme and everything, like he runs fairly decently. The environments, the rooms aren't unnaturally big, so like the enemies are kind of close to you, and you can run, and your sword is as long as you are, so like,
comically so.
it just feels like it's like, well, yeah, like why wouldn't I start swinging from way over here? But then, yeah, like the AI version is very much more like not not going, balls to the wall, and but it also seems like the enemies aren't really attacking with that type of action game frequency either.
Yeah, it's like they kind of like adjust to it, just like we'll be classic as well.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not how this is supposed to go. Although I guess because now, like I said, now I'm doing it like right now, and you can still move around and attack yourself while it's in
Yeah.
classic mode. But if you just let the controller go, then he'll still kind of just do his own thing. So I guess it's kind of like to aid people, for people who maybe aren't like used to more action oriented RPGs, and they're kind of just like, yeah, I kind of just want to put in the occasional command, and I don't want to have to think too much about whether I should be dodging or whether I should be doing this and this and this, or like I don't want to go through all of that trouble. But because I mean, obviously people have different like dexterities and whatnots when they're like doing stuff, so it's like not everybody can necessarily keep up with having to like I said, the whole micromanaging thing. It's like it's I guess it's to help them, so it's not just like if they get overwhelmed and it's just like, well, I can't finish this game because I have to do too much stuff, and I can't manage so much stuff, which is another reason why there's such a big thing about difficulty settings in video games. So, people can have so it's accessible to everybody.
Is the music still the same or is it different?
Music
I
is
mean,
like,
I think they've updated
yeah,
the regular themes basically. And
it's
just kinda-
all, it's like playing the right music. So it really is that opening sequence has that music. When you're first starting to storm the plant, it has that music. When you get underground to the sort of closer to the reactor area, it has that music that you remember. So it's all the same.
I look forward to that because that soundtrack is the best.
One part of that was really cool. So like battles there is no clear distinction. There's no like transition between regular going and then like a battle type mode. It's just like you're going, and then sometimes you pull out your sword, and then you're fighting, and then you put it away, and you're done. So there is no like winning fanfare.
well, I think Barrett like hums it at
Yeah,
one point
one
while you're
time
fighting
Barrett
with you.
hummed it to me. So we
Which I
finished
think,
the fight,
I think
and
it's
he
kind of
was
like
like,
an in-joke, because
yeah, he's like da 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 da
Yeah.
da da. And I was like, oh, that was awesome.
So it could be like that part in Advent Children where like someone's cell phone
Yeah,
ringtone is
maybe.
like it
Yeah.
goes off or something.
the same thing happens in 15 because they don't it's a similar setup with the whole no random encounter thing. So Prompto at some points will just be like da, 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 and then just like and then one of the guys is like, shut up, Prompto. And it's like, so I guess it's kind of like an in joke for them, since they don't really do since you don't have like a victory screen type of thing anymore with their games, because I think all the most recent ones have been mostly action oriented now. So but yeah, so it's more of an in joke, I guess, for them.
That was
But,
another thing that surprised me, like, because I played through it twice. There's a part where you have to run through these lasers. So you watch the pattern of when the lasers go off, and then you run through them. And Jessie is like your guide through this part. And like, she's like, the first time I did it well, I was like patient and just like did it. It's not hard. And so I just did it. And then, so she's like, oh yeah, that was really good. It's like, oh, you're a natural. And the second time, I was just like, I just want to get through this. I don't care. And I just kept running into the lasers. And she starts laughing at you.
Oh yeah,
She's
because she
like,
starts to
sorry,
make comments
I
at you
couldn't
if
help
you get
it.
hit by anything.
It's like, I'm so hurt. I lost like 400 XP or 400 HP. And yeah, and that was the time that Barrett sang the song too, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like they say different stuff. When depending on what you're doing, or like they have different random. They have a pool of stuff that they can say. In fact, like the first time fighting the boss fight, so in the beginning, they'll be talking to each other, and then Cloud will be like, "Oh, we have to use like electric magic because it'll be like weak to it." And I didn't. I just like kept shooting it, and they started yelling at each other again. It's like, "You're supposed. Did you hear what I said? We're supposed to use that." And I was just like, "Wow, this is so cool."
Yeah, they do have banter going on during most of the
Yeah.
battles. Like,
So I thought that was really fun. That was really neat.
speaking of, I'm not like a huge fan of like Barrett's voice acting, or his acting in general. So it's like I'm guessing like since the original wasn't voice acted, that I didn't really realize it before how annoying his whole like over the top personality kind of is. So like when he's going on these whole rants during the demo, like randomly, because he's like yelling at Cloud, and Cloud is obviously Cloud. So it's just like, dude, calm down. Like,
It's really
do it.
it was weird. Like, yeah, the first time. So it's the elevator scene, right?
Yeah.
The first elevator scene. At first, I was like, that was kind of like weird. But then I thought back, it's like the elevator scene in the original, because they didn't have voice, right? So they were like
Yeah.
emoting the polygons, and the way he sort of like throws his hands up in the air.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Like
I was
he's
like,
like,
oh, this is that thing. It's like, wow. I guess they did kind of capture what that was.
yeah, because it's like
Oh,
now that you're
man.
actually hearing
I
it, it's kind of
can't,
just
I
like I'm
can't
like, oh
wait for like the
gosh.
scenes with like Hojo and Heidegger and like the or just the Turks and like their banter and just like it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Because I didn't even realize, like I said, I didn't realize how annoying it was until it's like voice acting. I was like, oh my gosh, is this what you were always like? So it's like, because it's one of those things you really don't notice if you're not paying attention. Because yeah, like the original isn't voice acted at all. So it's like you just based on how the characters like move around and like basically what they're saying in the little text bubbles and stuff, you just kind of like infer what's going on. But in this case, it's just like now they're actually voice acted, and they have all the animations and everything to go with it. And I'm just like,
Oh,
man,
man.
you are so over the top, sir. Calm the crap down.
I wonder if
I was like,
the dating scene is going to be in there from the Gold Saucer.
oh,
Oh,
that's true.
that'd be great.
Definitely.
Say something, Cloud. Something. ...
Dot.
Yeah, there were like dialogue choices, I think, in the original, right, in the beginning, and
Yeah.
they aren't in it anymore because of
Oh,
probably
yeah,
because of
Cloud
voice
is voice
acting,
acted as too.
and like you can't change Cloud's name or whatever. But like those scenes are still there. I was like, oh, that's neat. They kept the scene. She asked like, what's his name again? And you're supposed to input a name, but then they don't have to
Oh,
do
yeah,
that
you
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it'll definitely be fun to just see, like, to experience the game in full once it's like done. I'm not gonna buy it when it's released because obviously with this whole episodic release, and I don't know how many episodes it's gonna be. It's just like I'm gonna definitely wait until like the full thing is probably done before I'm like, okay, let me buy it now. Because especially with how they usually, because I mean with Kingdom Hearts they release like the full package like 5 times, so it's like I'm gonna just wait and see sort of thing before I like hop on this. But it's like it'll definitely be interesting to see like to experience the whole thing in the new updated version of it, since obviously things were a lot different in 96 when this came or something like that. It came out like a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna obviously a lot of differences and updates. So.
Let me check.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was around that. It had to be, because I mean, and then there's like plenty of updates, like the smartphones and everything has happened since then. So I'm sure they're gonna like be updating different, or they're gonna have different updates, kind of like match the time and not be like completely like outdated. Because otherwise, it's like you could have changed this. Because yes, this is like this is very very Yeah, very outdated. So yeah, it should be interesting. It'll be interesting to experience it, but like I said, I'm not like super excited about it like everybody else because again, Final Fantasy VII wasn't one of my favorites, so it's like I don't have to like be like on like oh my gosh, I can't wait for this to come out. So I can kind of just like be okay with waiting until they get a lot further along in the process. Now they did say that episodes 2 and 3 were still going to be on schedule for release, even though this one got delayed. So I mean, that's probably a good sign. So we might see those episodes sooner rather than later, but again, it's Square Enix. So
See, no one expected Final Fantasy VII any part to be coming out
it's soon anyway after announcement. Yeah.
So the fact that it is coming out in like a month is pretty crazy to me.
Maybe it would have been out now, but it got delayed.
Well, which is weird because it's like it went gold like well in advance. I mean, they would have actually probably made the release date, but they just pushed it back anyway for whatever reason. So I don't know, man. Square Enix is weird. But they I mean, yeah, they're just weird. Although based on the original trailer and how the game looks now, they've definitely improved the visuals, at least from what they had initially shown. So I mean, they weren't just like kind of sitting on their thumbs and twiddling like, well, we'll just hang out, wait for just get money, dear boy, money, and be all right. So no, they've actually been. It looks like they've actually been, putting in, the work of trying to make sure it looks the best that it can possibly look, for one, and then doing what they can to try to please fans of the series, I guess. Because I know when the game was first released, a lot of people were kind of just like action RPG. So I mean,
just like
just like that.
Just like that. So it's like, at least they've kind of and that's the thing too, because they at least semi took that into account and tried to like add some of the turn-based elements to the action game, even whether it was a success or not remains to be seen. But it kind of like helps alleviate some of those worries that some people initially had, because they were just like, if you're gonna remake it, it needs to be shot for shot, everything needs to be, and just like times have changed. Like turn-based RPGs are kind of like being phased out, and if you do a turn-based RPG, then it has to have some kind of like interesting battle mechanic to make it like worth the trouble of the whole going back and forth with the turn-based stuff. Because it's like back when 7 and the other Final Fantasies were initially brought out, when they were still turn-based, it's like the ATB thing was kind of like revolutionary at the time when that happened, but it's
they made it.
Exactly. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like but now it's like, if you do a turn-based thing, just like you can't just be just like, oh, attack magic kind of thing. It's like there has to be something else going on. Like there has to be like either some type of tactical aspect to it, or some type of like, they would have to have update the battle system regardless. So it still wouldn't have been like just a straight up turn-based Final Fantasy VII. They still probably would have ended up doing something to make it like different, which they kind of did anyway with the classic modes, or however they have it set up. So it's like, hi, how you doing? I was like, but yeah, they had to it's okay. So they've kind of had to like update it anyway. So when some people were kind of like on it about that, I was like, well, I mean, they're gonna have to change something anyway, because it's been what, 10, 20, 15, a lot of years since this game is.
It was 97. I looked it up.
It was 97. Oh, okay, so yeah, it's been even more than that then, because yeah, it's like so yeah, they so yeah, it's been a long time. I think Final Fantasy VII is like legal drinking age and above at this point. So yeah, it's like they had to do some changes to kind of keep with the times, because otherwise people would not necessarily be interested. And I mean, the diehard fans are gonna buy it anyway, so it's like they probably weren't overly concerned, because they're just like, just slap Final Fantasy VII on them, we'll be fine. They'll still like eat it up. But it's just a matter of trying to do that balance between making fans happy and still doing something new and fresh with it, so it's not just like, all we did was make it pretty, but it's the exact same game sort of thing. So there's that.
man, they opened this can of worms. Now I want to see remakes of other like really old Final Fantasies.
All of the
I
good ones.
mean, Capcom has shown Resident Evil 2, Resident
I
Evil 3,
know,
like it
and
can be done.
I just feel
But
like you wouldn't, because people would say, "Oh, slippery slope," then they're just gonna keep making the same ones over and over. It's like,
Not to
well,
mention the original Resident Evil remake on GameCube.
yeah, but
Okay
I
with
don't
it.
think they would in this case because, like, once you've made Final Fantasy VII look like this, I don't think there's. Is there anything beyond this? Do you want another remake of this afterwards?
well, probably not of 7, but
But
you
yeah,
know,
like exactly, like you would. I don't, and our I guess our imagination is limited anyway because even on PS3 we couldn't imagine like, well, what's PS4 gonna look like? And then now that we've seen, wow, that's crazy. And so yeah, I can't imagine. Can they make a better looking Final Fantasy VII than Final Fantasy
probably
VII
on like
remakes? Like,
probably like on the
uh,
PS like 7 or 8 maybe, because it's like we would need some more like some larger graphical leaps before it's like. But I mean, the game as it is already looks like amazing, man. I mean, like we're talking like Advent Children was like the pinnacle at one
yeah,
point, and then it's just like, oh, we can do more. So
it
it's
looks
like
better than Advent Children.
yeah, so it's like because like I remember like seeing Advent Children, I'm just like, holy crap, this is. And now it's like seeing this, we're just like, what's Advent Children? So it's one of those things where it's like they could, I mean, eventually, yes, there will be technology that would probably be like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing looking thing ever. But as it is now, it's like you'd be hard pressed to like make a prettier Final Fantasy VII at this point, because it's like what do you do?
Yeah.
So, kind of.
Man, I really hope, because I was like hoping that they would go like full craziness and have like a like Crisis Core and then the main game and then like Advent Children
Well,
playable. So I was like,
I think
maybe it could still happen. I don't know, but it's like, man, if they make Advent Children playable, it's like somehow it's just like yeah, this is how the game actually looks now. We made this many years ago, but this is the game running on PS4 or PS5 or whatever, and it's like, oh, and it looks even better than the CG movie we made. Isn't it incredible? And just like, man, that'd
I
be
mean,
great.
I mean, there's a good chance that Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus may be like included as part of the like remake package, as
Yeah.
like part of the games themselves, as opposed to like making them separately. Because I mean, since it's all like one shared kind of like universe anyway, it's like they'll probably like just remake them to an extent and then just include them as part of the episode, so that way, like for instance, like they can do Crisis Core as like flashbacks in to whatever.
Oh
Since I
yeah,
mean,
the Zack sequences. You could just those would be
so
playable, but it's
yeah,
still in the universe and in the story, so it makes that'd be cool.
and then like if you unlock Vincent, you kind of get the Dirge of Cerberus type of side stuff going on or whatever, and like whatever. So it's like they can do it. It's not impossible, and I think they actually registered a trademark for Dirge of Cerberus not too long ago, or redid it or whatever. However, it works with trademarks. So I mean, it's possible that they're actually thinking of doing that anyway. Um, so again, remains to be seen because it's still early. We only have episode 1 coming out now. But the other 2 episodes, I'm guessing, gonna be one maybe make it in time for holiday season, which would probably be a huge deal. If not, then we'll probably see maybe 2 episodes next year. So it'll kind of be dependent on what they, I guess, what their whole roadmap thing is for the for the game.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like RPG said like he's waiting. Like I'm kind of hesitant because I don't trust Square Enix, but it's like
As you should.
this is like the one brand I would do it for. Like one of the few I would say. Like one of the few, because it is like it has that special place in my heart as my first Final Fantasy. Of just like I would, and then like even after the fact, dude, if they come out with like some sweet like box set of like the complete edition with like an actual sphere of materia, I would totally buy it. I don't care. Like it just I would go like this is the one game I would go to the depths of like stupidity to like play, even though I don't, or like to get like a double dip on like something I already have that's just like just so over the top. Because I almost got the first Soldier First Class edition, but then I couldn't. I signed up for like the email, and then like I guess when they delayed it, some people like didn't want it. But then I got the email, but then I forgot my password, and I couldn't log into my Square Enix account. I was like, no, and then by the time I could, it was already sold out. So I was like, dang. But then it was funny because like after the fact, I was like, Tekken, that was stupid, and we can just take this first class money and use it towards PS5. So it's a good thing it happened. It was a happy accident. what were you thinking? I was like, I don't need this. And I was like, this is only part one. They're gonna be like, who knows how many more of these? You know how much it is? Like, you fool! Like, just wait for the complete. Yeah, it's like I'm just like wait for like some sweet complete edition with like ridiculousness of like double dipping like automatically because you already have like the first 1, 2, and however many parts. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's just wait for the entire thing to come out, and then see like hopefully there's like some sweet premium edition with some whatever it is, and oh man. But then I probably won't. I could like, it's like I can see a scenario where I talk myself out of it, like I did this time until like they emailed me. I was like, because I didn't think I was gonna get it. I was like, whatever. I'll just put myself on the list. And then that email came. And I was like, like, yeah, yeah. The power of hype, as we've discussed on the podcast, of like until it is in existence, you will be excited about it. And then I was like, and it makes you do crazy things, like spend $330 on a game that is not worth $330. Or rather, like that has extra stuff that's probably not worth it. So yeah. Money day by money. That's how they make it. Money.
Well, yeah. So that's the demo that I've been playing. I played Ni no Kuni, but I didn't get very far. Like, suffice it to say, now that I know that I could buy equipment from that one guy, it suddenly became like way easier. So all the enemies that I had been, very worried to fight, now they all run away from me. It's like, oh, so I actually was overleveled. I just didn't know it because I had the wrong equipment, and that's why the battles took so long. So yeah. I think I'm nearing the end though, because they said we are like clearing the path to the last guy that we've been talking about fighting the whole time. So yeah, I might actually finish that one in the next week or two. And then Star Wars Battlefront. It was triple XP this weekend, which makes so much difference. It's ridiculous. I think I acquired 10 player levels. And if you think about that, like, so I would have had to play 3 times as many games to get that XP during the regular XP time. Like, that's insane. And it was like I played a lot over the weekend. But I discovered a lot of the trophies. So I was working on the one where I have to get 500 kills as heroes, and I had been playing in hero versus villain mode because it's just easier to get heroes because you're always a hero. But I guess since the update, I don't know what happened, but suddenly it became very hard for me to kill any other heroes with my hero. Like, I don't know if it's because the update came out and a lot of people who played it before came back and they had super high level Jedi or whatever, or maybe they just changed the system or the balance between the characters, because Chewbacca was what I was playing mostly, and they completely changed how he works. So instead of I was describing the 3 shots horizontally and then you can switch it to vertically, they changed it so that it's now like a triangle of shots. And then if you zoom in, then it's just like his one super powerful bolt, like in the recent Star Wars trilogy. And yeah, it was just very hard, and I couldn't get any kills. Well, this is gonna take forever if I have to do it this way. So I guess I will go and play just regular multiplayer mode and try to get it that way. But that wasn't working either because of the reasons I said before. And then I discovered that you can get the trophy in co-op. And so there's a co-op mode that I've never played before in Battlefront 2, in which it's 4 players and you play objectives and you try to...
What? There's a 4-player co-op mode in that game?
Yeah.
Is it online?
It's online.
What? I've not heard of this.
It's not interesting. It's not super interesting.
Okay, pump the brakes, never mind. Okay, now that you're pump the brakes taken, it's not Borderlands or anything. It's just a basic, chocolate vanilla garbage.
It's like
Yeah.
you're capturing points or you're defending points, and you're fighting against tons and tons of whatever faction your faction is against. And because you get to choose like which one you want to be, you can choose from any era of Star Wars. So it's like you could be the Republic,
Original
you could be the
trilogy.
Resistance, you could be
That's
the
the right
Rebellion, you could be the
Rebel forces.
the dark side of all three of those. I was playing Rebels the entire time because
That's the right
they
answer.
added they added the Ewok Hunter.
Oh, I
as a
saw that
new
actually. There was a video on
infiltrator
YouTube
class.
because I'm subscribed to. I don't know who I'm subscribed to, but like I saw that pop up and they're like the Ewok because they have like weird abilities and it's just like I wanted to play that when it was available like for a limited time and I guess it came back but I completely forgot until you said that. But yeah,
It
I
is
need to check that out.
hilarious playing as Ewoks, but it's so cool because when you're playing it, so Ewoks they have one of their abilities is like they don't appear on radar when they shoot their arrows because like well I mean why would they? They're not blasters, and so if you're not using the aim down sights button, then the arrows are just sort of auto targeted. And you can just like hold down the shoot button and you'll just like keep shooting arrows at whatever thing you've auto targeted. And then but then you can blow the horn. That
Did you get like better defense or something?
you get like better defense and your attack is better. And it's just like it's really cool when you and like some of the other players just happen to all be Ewoks at the same time, and then everyone starts playing the horn, and it's like this is just like the movies. You just hear in the distance, boo 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 boo, and you go, boo 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 boo. It's like yeah.
Oh gosh, it really is a rally cry.
It is so cool. So I played a ton. Or so after I got my like hero kills, I just kept playing as Lando. Lando's middle ability is ridiculous. He locks on to however many characters you can in front of you, and as you level it up, like you can lock on to enemies that are further and further away. And
What?
so it's sort of like I'm trying to think of any other character.
Death Blossom mode from The Last Starfighter.
He just like locks onto a lot of them, and then like you push the fire button, and he just like pew 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 pew, and like they all die. And that allowed me to get up to 500 kills
extremely overpowered.
super fast. It's not though in multiplayer. Like when you're playing against people, it like doesn't. It never does that. You're just like, wow, I can't. People are so good at protecting themselves, but then against AI, like that's why I thought co-op was so fun because it's just like the heroes get to be as amazing as you imagine they are, and not as crap as you are when you're playing against other people.
Oh my.
And so I was just like destroying just squads of guys. I was like, oh, this is so cool. But yeah, like after I got my 500 kills, I just like every time I would go in and say, oh, I have 1,000 points, it's Ewok time, and then I just like run around. And it was so fun. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But so at this point I was getting kind of bored. Like I had played a ton of Battlefront 2 just to get those 500 kills, and then I was like, well, look how fast I'm leveling. Like I might as well try to get to level 50 this weekend. Otherwise, I'm going to have to play, 3 times as many games later. But I just couldn't. I was like, I've played so much, and I don't feel like playing this anymore. So, it's gonna take 3 times as many games, but whatever. I'll just like pace myself. Like, what happens when I get the trophy? Like, nothing. It's not real. And so I was just like, okay, so I'm just gonna pace myself. Whatever. But then I was just like wandering in the menus, like just to see what other modes I hadn't looked into. Co-op was something I discovered. It's like, what else is there? And I discovered Ewok Hunt, which I've seen before on the menu, but I'd never read the description. And from the title, Ewok Hunt, I thought it was like, famously Star Wars fans from the era don't like Ewoks, so maybe it's like another co-op mode where it's like 4 of you, and you just like go around and kill thousands and thousands of Ewoks. But then this time I was like reading them, and it's like Ewok Hunt, and it says survive a night on the moon of Endor, and it's 20 players, and I was like, what? What is this? So I just loaded it up and got in the game. This moment, it was insane. So
Exactly.
no, I got into the game and it was
Stormtrooper
like
was in heaven.
pitch black. I was like, what is happening? And I see my buttons, like I have a flashlight, so I turn on my flashlight, and I'm just like, I can see the cone of my flashlight, and that's it. And I'm in a forest, and it's just like pitch black. It's like, what is this a horror game? and just like the instructions appear on the screen. It's like survive until evacuation, and I was like, what is going on? And I was like getting freaked out because I'm all alone. It's like I thought this was 20 players, but it's just me. And I'm walking around and it's dark and silent, and then suddenly on the screen it appears like so and so name was lost to the woods, and I was like, what is this?
Wait. So and so was lost in the woods?
Was lost to the
Lost
woods.
to the woods.
Oh.
And I was like, what is happening?
Tonight.
And
Tips
so,
taking you.
but then, that clued me in. I was like, oh wait, that was the name of a player. That's not something that the Star Wars writers would have written. So, okay. And I pushed like the scoreboard button, and like a scoreboard appeared, and there was like a whole bunch of people. And I realized like, oh, it's like zombies. It's like a certain number of players start as Ewoks, and a certain number of players start as stormtroopers, and then everyone the Ewoks kills becomes an Ewok. And I was like, oh, this is cool! I mean, still freaky, because I'm alone in the dark, and there's little monsters trying to kill me, but really cool. So I'm walking around, and finally, like, I see another flashlight in the distance. I'm like, oh my gosh! Wait, do Ewoks have flashlights? I have no idea! And I go over there, and it's like, oh, it's another stormtrooper. He's shooting at Ewoks that are running away. And I join up with him, and he's with another guy, and we join up. And it's like, it's all very scary, because even when you're with other people, you sort of feel alone, because they don't appear on your radar, which, like, you rely on a lot playing Battlefront. So they're there, and you know they're there only if they're making sound, like they're walking around. Or one of them kept emoting the cry emote. So it was like 3 soldiers, walking cautiously through the woods with their flashlights, and one guy keeps going, he's just like crying in the back. I'm like, oh, we're gonna die. And we got into this canyon, and like the guy in front of me ran off into the front, and I would like start to walk towards him, and I turned around to look at the crying guy, and an Ewok like killed him right there, like behind me, with his spear, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die.
It's a trap. We should have went to the canyon.
It was insane. And so I killed that Ewok, but then like a bunch of other Ewoks like jumped out of the darkness and just came at me. And I was like, oh, no, we're gonna die! It was awesome. But then then I became an Ewok, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just game over. It's like, oh, you become an Ewok. It's like, I understand the game now. I'm supposed to hunt the other guys now. And like on the Ewok side, it's third person. Oh yeah, like it's first person when you're a stormtrooper, and you can't change out of it. So it's just like what you can see with your flashlight and your fellow trooper flashlights. That's it. And on the Ewok side, it's third person, and the contrast is just like you can see everything. Before I was like turning off my flashlight a lot because I thought, oh, if the flashlight is off, maybe the Ewoks can't find me. But no, they see very well in the dark, and you can just see everything as Ewoks. And like I spawned in as an Ewok, and I was like way up in the trees, and I looked down, and there's just like a horde of Ewoks running together somewhere. I was like, oh, okay, it's on. Well, I jumped down and I joined with them. Yeah. So in this mode, you don't have a bow and arrow. You just have the spear. So you can only like run up and like melee attack. And you also have this it's like that little pouch that they were throwing in the movies. And
Like a sling or something.
yeah, it's like a sling and it's filled with some sort of sparks that track and attack stormtroopers. And man, these it having been a stormtrooper, like watching the sort of attack tactics we were doing on them, it's like, oh, it must be terrifying on the other side. They're just, you can see them. They're in a circle and they're like huddled around each other and they're like all looking off in different directions. And then, all of us Ewoks descend upon them from the trees. Blowing the hunting horn. It's like, oh no!
The most terrifying sound.
It was awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think Battlefront 2 is, like, good now. Like, every mode is... There's something... If you like Star Wars, every mode has something to like. Like, Starfighter Assault is, like... Yeah, it's like TIE Fighter versus X-Wing, but, more action-y and less sim-like, and the ships all look really good, and the game modes are really interesting, and the changing objectives is all really cool. It's like, wow, this is really cool. And then, like, all the regular modes, there's just tons and tons of different characters and different eras now, and that's all really fun. and then you got this oddball stuff, like Ewok Hunt was amazing. Like, oh geez. Yeah. So, and yeah, this one had a single player campaign, which was kinda decent. Anywho, yeah, so I just have the one trophy left in that one. But now that I think the game is actually really good, I think I'm just gonna take my time and not rush it anymore. Just go in and play every once in a while. Yeah, so that after all of that, that's what I've been playing.
I did double check actually, and I had been playing Division 2, but it's funny because basically what happened is like after the $3 deal and like playing so much of Division 2, I'm kind of just like done. It's like I don't really feel like getting the expansion. Like I didn't enjoy the experience enough to be like, yeah, Wargs of New York. Like I saw the trailer and like I was like, oh, this looks cool. Like this looks something like something I want to do. Like the infinite gear progression, blah 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 thing. Like actually playing the game is like, I'm good. There's enough content in that game to just like go back and like play it until I've got like everything done. And then, like, maybe get the expansion, but probably not. It's like, just wait for Azul, because it's like, honestly, I just don't think it's worth it, because it's like, I've played it, and it's like, I would not recommend it. So it's just, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't recommend it. It's just like, having played Destiny, like, and like compare and contrast, it's like, clearly, Division is just like not as good, which is so weird to say, because it's just like F Destiny, but like, Division playing it, it's like it's not a bad game. It just doesn't do the things that Destiny does as good. So it's like it's like the whole thing RPG is talking about. Like with all these games trying to be games of service, like you want to be the first to the whatever punch for like all the next gen stuff or whatever. So good luck, because I guess I didn't realize until I did that Destiny has done a pretty decent job. I mean, it only took like how 1,000 years. That's a hyperbole overstatement, but it took them so long to like get it down and refined, but it's working and it's a fun time and it's a good experience. So it's like when it's not effing you, but it's always effing you. So it's like it's whatever. It's whatever. I can't like give it a fair shake and like with like give it a good unbiased like praise, because I've just had too much time in the kitchen with it. So it's like I can't really say, or like it's held me too hostage too long, and like the whole Stockholm syndrome with me and Destiny. It's like it's not happening. Destiny 2, like I just can't say something about it. That's good. I mean, I can say bad things and I'll say good things, but it's like it feels weird. So it's like I'm saying a good thing now, but it's like actually F that game. But like Division 2, that's like I feel like I'm saying bad things about that because I'm saying bad things about Destiny. So it's like okay. Division 2 not as good as Destiny, but like Destiny is like it's like a whole can of worms. It's like it's whatever. But yeah, man. So it's like my time spent with Division 2. It's like it's like I just don't want any more. There we go. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say or something. It's hard. It's hard, man. Like I got a lot of feelings and emotional and personal investment in time in Destiny and Destiny 2. So it's like just it's a love-hate thing. Like I say every time, man. It's a love-hate thing. So sorry, games and service games out there, but you will be judged one way or another when I play you, because time has been served, and I can render judgment after time served in your little playground. So Division 2, not so much. Better than Division for sure, but Division 2 is, I mean, it's good, but it's not great. There you go. I said it. That's my take. Chris Adams, Take Master, aimlesspodcast.com. Division 2. It's okay, but not great. Fun time for $3, but any higher, I would not recommend. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm done. Garbage.
Actually, I haven't been playing that much. I mean, I played the Final Fantasy VII demo as we mentioned already. And then just like, I mean, it's always one of those. Like, I'm tired. But I just played more of Trails of Cold Steel 3 and kind of just working my way through that. But nothing major to report.
You didn't get any sweet new games for your birthday?
What? No.
Oh, bummer. There's RPG's birthday. If you're listening, happy birthday, RPG.
It is
Give
my
him
birthday.
stuff.
Give him stuff.
It's the digital age. It's easy.
Give me stuff. Yes. But no, it's just been a pretty chill week. So
you playing any Monster Hunter? Any Guiding Lands adventures?
Nope.
He's like, I got my stuff and I left.
I got what I needed. I'm not going back in there. Can't make me. Can't make me. So no. But yeah, no, I've been trying to make some headway because it's like in Trails of Cold Steel 3, because like I said, those games are like really long, and then on top of that, Neo 2 comes out in like a week and some change now, so it's like not too far off, and then I have Persona 5 Royale coming out at the end of the month, so it's like I need to try to put in like a good dent into the game before it gets thrown to the side and not seen again for another year, like I usually do with those games. And then it's like, what was I doing in this again? And I have to like try to pretend like I remember what was going on before I like finish the game. So yeah, there's that happening. So I've just been trying to do that before it inevitably happens. Because I mean, they released the last trial or the last beta trial thingy for Nioh 2 as well. So I played that over the week, and I'm really excited for that game. So should be fun. But that's pretty much it.
Okie dokie. Well, the middle segment is all about PlayStation 2 because it's like the 20-year anniversary apparently of like the Japanese launch, which is like insane because time flies, and I had no idea. And then like just so much social media on Twitter, people tweeting about it and stuff. And I was like, man, this is I mean, I said it earlier in Which Been Playing. It's like, it made me feel so much nostalgic. I was like, I gotta play some PS2 stuff. And I was like, you know what? Middle segment this week, it's all about the PS2. PlayStation 2 Appreciation Fest, Gush-Thon, or something, whatever.
Gush-Thon.
So basically, RPG. Oh my god. So weird. So I have some other things prepared besides like the topical topic of the middle segment that we have come up with. So I said like, what we could do is like, top 5 games on PS2, and then like maybe some series that came out that were like at the time, and then like that was like them at their peak and stuff. But for me personally, like PS2 is like my favorite console ever, and just like it's like the best of times for me. Like I just think back on it, it's just like it's like like the most awesomest games. And this may be rose-tinted glasses, I don't care, but like it just seemed like there was like a game of like all different types all the time, and like you never could play them all, and it never ended until PS3 came and like ruined everything. So it was great, and I was like going through my PS2 games and like looking at them. I even made a list, which I will talk about at the end of the segment, and I was like, these are games that were like amazing, or just like good series that were like at their peak, like I said. And just like some of my favorite games, and I just love gushing all over them. So I just made a list, and I was like, I'll go over it at the end of the segment, because if I did at the beginning, it would take too much time, or it'd be like super weird too as well. But for me, so I have a project going on, kind of, sort of, not really, very much not really, because basically, like now when people ask me like what my favorite game is, I'll just be like, okay, well, I have a top 5. But then like I had to expand upon it because it's like you can't just have 5, man. Like so basically, I've been making batches of 5, and my goal is to have like 10 of them, and then have a top 50, and then if I get 20, top 100. So it's like currently working on the top 50, but it's like the prime 5, which are like the tip of the top. But I can't believe I just said that. I'm sorry. Oh, the top of the top, like the best of the top 5. Jeez, never say that again, Tegan. Ugh, I've been tainted, irreversibly contaminated. I'm sorry, everybody. But the best of the top 5 on my top 5 list. So I've got The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale, Red Dead Redemption, Mass Effect, Chrono Trigger, and Metroid Prime. And then like even going further into that, it's like I mean, not to get too deep in the woods or too deep in the weeds of like the whole top 5 thing, but like I look at this list and I see like games I play now and like how it's like that it's all related because it's like got like the whole choice and Telltale style Walking Dead open world. I mean, Red Dead Redemption is like very in danger of being like swapped with like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is like on another one of the batches, but it's like whatever, dude. Like it's close. Got like robot dinosaurs. You got Frontier Outlaws. But John Marston's. I mean, but Alien. It's like it's so close. It's so close. But then like in like I'm probably gonna end up like giving it to Horizon because it's like my favorite game in this generation. And then like you got stealthy stabbing robots in the butt with spears and stuff, and it's great. And like future dystopian post-apocalyptic because like it's after it's great. Mass Effect needs no just introduction or like me to like give any type of description or reasoning because if you've heard me gush about it on the podcast, yeah, it's a whole thing, whatever. Chrono Trigger is basically like the apex or like not. I mean, it's arguable. It's whatever. It's all they're all arguable really. But it's like JRPGs. So that takes that spot. And then Metroid Prime is like it's a FPS, but it's got like other things going on, which is like making it so much better, which is why it's in that spot. And not a typical FPS game. Could you just like take it from it? And then on my PS2 list, I mean I have some honorable mentions too. So it's like I'm just gonna go down my list because I did my homework this episode. I like made a whole list. And then I like checked it twice, and there's a bunch of asterisks going on. So it's like I kind of made too many. So I'll just like I'll edge out the losers, or not edge out the losers, but I'll sand it down here in the current segment. So we've got Final Fantasy X. That's one. Also, it's not a numbered list. It's just like they're 5 slots. They're all like number ones. Really, it's like a 5-way tie for number 1. There's no numbers here. So we've got like Final Fantasy X. I love it. Spirit. I just replayed it on PS4. It's still amazing. It's still great. It's like it's great because it's like it's turn based, but there's no ATB, so it's like you can just sit there and think and be like and just take your time. It's so enjoyable, and the music's great. It's like it's all those things that Final Fantasy does well: music, story, characters, setting, and like chef kiss emote. That didn't sound like chef kiss emote. That sounded like a real kiss. That was weird. Anyway, that didn't come out right. Metal Solid 3, that's like the best because it's like the whole you go into Russia and then or USSR really because it's like the 80s whatever and like the whole thing with the boss and the 4 I can't remember what they're called whatever like the Beauty and the Beast core of that game whatever. And then all the thes, so it's like the fear, the end, the sorrow, the thes, the okay, that's probably just like a translation thing, but I really just like it's like the whole Kojima thing. Like his aesthetic, he's an auteur. It's an aesthetic, and it fits, and it works, and it's great, and it has like one of the best endings ever, and just like the way it transitions of like this is what they did to Big Boss to make him Big Boss. And it's just like so good. And then like in future games, it's like you look back and it's like man, it was like that, and it's like yeah, it was like that. It's so good. It's so good. It's a masterpiece, timeless classic. And like, if you're a fan of the series, is like it was at its peak. It is one of the best interviews. One of the best. So good. So yeah, got that. Got Sly Cooper and the Devious Raccoonus because back in the day, it was like you gotta choose between Sly or Ratchet or Jack. Which mascot are you choosing this generation? There's like this is Sony's first party, and like these are the games that they have given us: Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch, and it's like. And Insomniac, and it's like, I don't know what this character's about. This isn't Mario, this is Master Chief, but I'll take a chance and play it. And it was a fun, stealth-filled, fun times with your fur brethren as you're just like going through with your hippo and turtle teammates and some fox lady. That's a fox lady. Oh, just yeah, that was great. That was man, that got me, man. Just like she's a literal fox that is like your love interest. Is like oh, you got missed, Black Cooper. And then like just the stealthiness was great. The stealth elements and like the combat's super easy and like intuitive and just it's a fun time. It's a fun time. And then like bonus side thing you don't know. I've never said about this on the podcast. I've only played the first game and the Vita game, which are like the first and the fourth entries, so I don't know even what happens in the middle. So it's like I need to play them, but I haven't gone back and played them. So it's like I think I have them some, or maybe I don't, because I don't actually have it in my jacket sleeve here when I'm looking through my games. So I thought I had 2 and 3, but I guess I don't have 2 and 3. So I need to play them. So that's 3. That's 3. Yes. SSX3. SSX3 is like there are very few games I have played that I just like absorb. I got so absorbed and was just playing like it was like I think this is like the first Chicken Crack out, possibly. Probably not, but like I just there's 3 peaks in that game and like you have different characters that you can go down the peaks and like get your board and like that soundtrack's amazing, the gameplay's amazing. It was also like one of the first online games where I just played it so much and like made friends that like I didn't know and like the online like the like talking to people was like what just like a one-on-one thing, so it's like it was weird but it was like interesting because like it was very clear like the voice over IP is a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I like learned some tricks from people. I was like, oh, how'd you do that? And they're like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, well, like a transference of information thing is great. And just I played that game. Okay, that's also a game that's like very on a very special list of like a game I played so much I fell asleep playing it. So it's like not very many games on that list. It's like that and Destiny and like I played something recently. I fell asleep playing. I think was it Monster Hunter? It was something I played like a lot of. It was probably Monster Hunter, but like there's not a lot of games on that list to like take falls asleep playing because they played it so much. But that's a special place in my heart. SSX3, such a good game. And then Time Fleet's Future Perfect because Gone Too Soon Part 1 out, pretty radical. And like Cortez and his whole story, it's a nice lighthearted romp through time and space. What more could you ask for? It's a great formula for them to like bring it back and like give it a Netflix show or something or do something with it, man. Like EA's just sitting on the IP and it's just like, dude, that was the best. Like okay, not the best, but like it's like so many fun moments in that game when you're just like goofing off because it's like and then the cool things it's co-op, so there's like always these Cortez and like whatever his counterpart for that time era. So it's like you're going to the 60s and like, it's got the spy dude. You're going to the future and it's got that cool lady, and you're in the 90s with that like punk lady, and you're going through and then there's a part and like when you're in the future with yourself and it's 2 Cortezes, it's like ow, and then there's like a whole time loop where it's like you get to that part and you're like, oh, this is how I got to that part, here's this, it's like a Bill and Ted's part, and it's like here's the key and like here's the password, and it's like, oh, I just did this, it's like yeah, and then like I'm giving it to you in the future and this is, it's like ow. I was like, man, that was just like, yeah, it just nailed it. It was great. It was a fun time. And it, like, was that 5? Let's see. Sly Cooper, SSX, Final Fantasy, Time Splitters, Microsoft. Yes, that's 5. And then a honorable mention. It was not initially on the console. It was ported to it later. Resident Evil 4. It was brought back from the dead, man.
Cheating.
People wrote off Resident Evil. They're like, "What's happening to Resident Evil? Seriously, this isn't as good as it used to be." Like after a couple, well, not a couple. There are like a lot. There are a lot of like side entries of like between 3 and 4 of just like what's going on here. They had like the one on the boat, Dead Aim. They had the one with the people in the people in the city. I'm so stupid.
Oh, that one.
The Outbreak. They had the one with the survivors that were not the main characters. The Resident Evil game with the people in the city.
So not 5 at least.
You get so far ahead in my head, I'm just like, what am I about to say? And it's just like, that's so stupid taken. But yeah, Outbreak, Dead Aim on the boat. You had like a first person one at some point, I think Survivor or something on PS1. You had like it was like, yeah, it was like, I mean, Code Veronica, I haven't really actually played, so it's like whatever. But like, and some people, it's like, yeah, whatever. And but that's like on a Dreamcast. That's like, whatever. There's a whole thing of like, that's like a whole side story of like Capcom and their like greed of like, well, we'll just give this game to this person because we need the money and we'll get sales, and like ruining the brand. But I came back in 4, man, and like Leon Kennedy, my favorite character, because 2 was my first game, and like he was the main character, and like we we went through things too, and he came back to protect the president's daughter, and like it's a whole thing, I'm not gonna get into it, but like man, 4, one of the best, one of the best. Okay, and then like because it's on this list, it's like I said, like and then like 5 came out, and it was like co-op, but not, and it's like yeah, it's a whole thing, We're not gonna get into it, but like 5 and 6 people will be like, not as good as 4 because they're right, and it's like not as good as 4 because 4 was like, dude, and everyone's like, dude, and it was like, yeah, you can like say that, you can say that someone like Resident Evil 4, and they'll be like Resident Evil 4, and, and like you look at them and like you just nod, and like they nod, and you're like, yeah, and you're both like, yeah, it's like yeah, because you know that's how good it was. It was amazing, and just so good. Let me double check my list here just to make sure there's nothing else that's got an asterisk next to it, and yeah. My top 5 with Resident Evil 4 is an honorable mention. I mean, it wasn't going to always be that order, but like I was just going down the list, so it's like you could like slot in Resident Evil 4 for something else. I'm like, whatever, but And that's my top 5, and it's a magical land, PS2, of like where you could have a sweet first-person shooter that you go through time and space in future perfect, and just making this whole thing and like the whole story. Oh man, that's the other thing. It's like Kojima. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was Kojima at his like best or his apex, but it's like, dude, there is like so much like dialogue gameplay, or cutscene gameplay, like that whole dynamic. I miss that, man. Like, I will say, I don't care, man. I mean, I did play through Death Stranding. I mean, I didn't finish the game, whatever. But like, I do kind of clamor for ye olden days of like when that was the thing of just like that was the whole. You'd play part of the game and there'd be a sweet cutscene. It's like, oh, and then like it didn't matter to me how long it was. Like, I'm down with that. So it was a sign of the times, I would say. Yes, definitely. When you could play a game and there'd be sweet long cutscenes or just sweet cutscenes, and just like that used to be a thing. Now it's just like you're in the game the whole time and like people are talking, and yeah, whatever. But there's my top 5. And I will come back to the series that are at their top because I got a lot. So sorry in advance. Sorry. I made a list. So
Did you check it twice to find out if they're nice?
No, I kind of checked it once, so not really. Oh.
You're fired.
Man, it's hard to come up with ones that don't overlap.
That's because some games are just that great. Okay.
Because yeah,
I mean, I guess yeah, that's a good part. I mean, good point. Like we brought up that one time when we were like, oh, there's if you look at like years and years ago on PS1, it's like how many of these games still exist? It's like this PS2 games that are still around are legendary. They're effing legendary, and like the ones that are like the best at that time are effing legends because they're just that effing good. You need to effing play them, and like
F-ity F with the side of F.
And if the PS5 rumors are true, just Terry to have a list for you. So yeah, be ready with your pencils and paper, listeners. But go ahead, Optical.
I don't know if this is a top one. These are like the ones that I like, that I remember.
Yeah, because
the thing is,
when I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't know if I have like a top 5 type of thing.
Yeah, because like PS2 was such a different time, and for me, like I knew someone who had a PS1, but the only games I'd ever seen were Puzzle Fighter, and later, like when Final Fantasy VIII came out, like we had Final Fantasy VIII, the Japanese version, and those were like that's the only 2 PlayStation games I had ever seen before the PlayStation 2 came out.
Wow, that is.
So at the time, yeah, I was like, I had no idea about console generations or anything like that. I had an NES. And then, like, one time there was a school fair, and one of the classrooms was playing Final Fantasy VI on a TV, and I was like, oh, I've never played any of these, but I've seen this type of game where it's like, these guys are standing on this side, and these guys are standing on this side, and then you, like, choose stuff. And then when I saw like Sabin's like blitz moves, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And then yeah, it was like very shortly after I had first seen Final Fantasy VI, I saw Final Fantasy VIII, and I was like, "Wow, those graphics, like that is insane!"
It's in 3D now.
That is the most amazing 3D animation I've ever seen. And then Puzzle Fighter, which is like, well, it's a game, and we had played that in the arcade before we got it on PlayStation, so it was just like, yeah, I didn't really think anything of it. It was Final Fantasy VIII where I was like, dang, something is happening here. Like I've never seen anything like that. But then yeah, it wasn't until around the launch of the PS2 where I first was like, oh, I'm going to buy these PlayStation 1 games because I heard PlayStation 2 will be able to play them. So I got like Parasite Eve, Metal Gear Solid, and Resident Evil 3, I think my roommate bought, and we got Final Fantasy 9 when it came out. And so it was just like, but then yeah, at the same time I was playing things like The Bouncer and Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore, and Fantavision, and Ridge Racer 5, I think it was.
Yeah.
The first one on PS2, the launch game.
Yes,
And
it's
so,
Richard 5.
yeah, like for me, it was just like the entire thing was insane to me. It was just like Metal Gear Solid. This is incredible. Like that's what I think of when I think of PS2. Just sort of like that launch period is very like that's why I think I like Fantavision so much. It's actually not that good, but then it's like it was yeah. So yeah, so some of the ones other than those, like I remember liking the Bouncer a lot, and I think it probably has to do with like what it looked like. It looked pretty amazing for its time. Yeah, I liked Final Fantasy X and Snake Eater also. Those were two big ones. I think I liked SSX Tricky more than I liked 3. Or I played it more, definitely, than I played 3. Not really sure why. It may have just been
Because it
like,
was tricky.
yeah, like the it was. Here we go. It was just like the contrast between that one and the first one, which I think the first one was, if not a launch game, it was like really close to launch. And so yeah, those were really big. And then I really liked Def Jam Fight for New York. It was also an EA big game at the time.
Man,
it was
EA
like
Sports big. Rip. Pouring out.
Miss it. It was like who did you play as?
Wrestler or rappers.
Yeah, it was like a was it a wrestling game? It was like a brawling game. I just remember at the time it was really cool. Like I thought the storyline was really awesome. Do you fight Snoop Dogg in the end? I don't remember, but it was like I thought it was really cool and how you could like build your character and get different moves and stuff. And I also thought it was really funny because like the moves in that are really brutal, but the game was rated teen. Meanwhile, Dead or Alive, not really brutal moves, was rated M. It was like, whatever. But yeah, Def Jam Fight for New York. I wish like the later ones had been like that, but they were not. God of War 2, I think, was my favorite God of War. Until obviously, I guess 3, but that was on another system. And since I haven't played the new one, I don't know yet. So someday we'll
Still
see.
hasn't played it, everybody. Still hasn't played it.
And then the other game that I think of is Zone of the Enders 2, the second runner.
Oh man, so good.
That game was so cool. I'm not really sure, because like the remasters, well, no, yeah, I guess the original is still just like super amazing. And then obviously San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto, that was like insane. The one Grand Theft Auto game that got me to play all the other ones.
And then also just oh sorry, go ahead, Tropical.
Oh. Yeah, I think that's. I really like Ridge Racer, but I didn't play it on PS1, so. Yeah, I bought a lot of oddball racing games back in the time too. Do you remember Auto Modelisa from Capcom?
Yeah. Is
It
that a
was like
PS1
the
game?
cell shaded. No, that was a PS2 game.
Oh, wait, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
online one, right?
Was it
Or it
online?
was online. Yeah, it was.
Maybe. There was another one at the same. It might have been just R Racing Evolution, which was like one of the Ridge Racer spin-offs, I guess. Yeah, like those games, but then also just like the amazing PS1 games that I missed during the PS1 era that I didn't really know existed, and the I think those were probably more impactful, and then they sort of brought me into this PS2 area, thinking like, wow, like everything is amazing, which I suppose continues to this day.
I was gonna say, like, it only dawned on me now, like, also just feel free to, like, just gush all over with any anecdotes of, like, the era that you have about PlayStation or PlayStation 2, or specifically PlayStation 2, just, like, how awesome it was, because, like, I remembered as Tropical was talking about all the games that he had not played or had played, when, like, I went to, oh, geez, this is so weird. I think I went, yeah, it's like, I went to Circuit City at the time, because those don't exist anymore. And I was like, just trying to decide like which game was going to be my first game on PS2. Was it going to be Final Fantasy X or Metal Gear Solid 2? I was like, oh man, which one? I don't know. I want to play both. But then I chose Final Fantasy X, and I'm glad I did, because it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride. And then also at the launch of PS2, one of my friends from high school had actually gotten one, and like. Brought it from my house. We just like played it nonstop, and just like we played through Tekken Tag, and we like unlocked all the characters, all the endings, and it was just like it just blew us away graphically. It was just like, oh, this is so amazing, and just like the entire night, just like Tekken Tag is great, is the best, and just like so good. And then like there's like another anecdote of just like why my gamer tag is Tekken Master is like when they launched Tekken Tag on PS2, it was like part of their ads or whatever that was like in the trailer of like this weird like old school Chinese martial arts film like spliced in with like the gameplay, and like they say that in there, and I was like stuck in my brain. And then years later I had to like make some PlayStation Underground thingy, but like it was already taken, so I'd like take some letters off, and that is how the gamer tag I use now was birthed. And yeah, it's like it is from that era. So it's like, thank you PS2, you didn't literally make me, but you did make my gamer tag. So yeah, it's still carrying it on. That being said, I kind of do like regret it sometimes, but it's whatever, dude. It's whatever, man. So oh, also what Tropical said, like a bunch of PS1 games I was able to play. Like there was so many, because I never had. Okay, so here's because I used to be a Nintendo kid, so it's like I didn't have a PlayStation, and then like at some point my sister got a Sega Genesis, so we didn't get Super Nintendo. So it's like and then like yeah. So N64, and then like didn't have PS1, and then I played PS1 stuff at one of my friends, like two of my friends' house, and I was like, wow, this stuff is like kind of better and like different. And then just like it blew me away. Metal Gear Solid, I was like, what? I was like, wow, it was like a whole thing of just like so cinematic and so amazing. I was like, this is amazing. And then like Final Fantasy 7, as I said as well, and just like, oh. So then like when I got PS2 and it's like backwards compatible, there's just they played our PS1 games. So it was just like so many games. It was just like besides PS2 stuff, like Tropical said, like he had gotten Metal Gear Solid and some other stuff. And I was like, man, like I was just constantly playing PS1 games, because just like there's so many, and like I hadn't played them, and it was basically just as good of a library as PS2. So it just didn't look as good, but like it was, like as I played more stuff on PS2, or like as my taste grew and like went in different directions, I was able to like play other stuff in that vein. Like I actually got to play Xenogears, and it was amazing. Or I got to play Symphony of the Night, Castlevania, just just amazing, delicious JRPGs, or just Japanesey stuff, because I was like that's everything. Like that was like back in the Japanese heyday of like when they made, or they still make great games, but like the I guess frequency and quantity of them was more, or just like, maybe it just seems like there's more, I don't know, whatever. Like maybe they still do, just it doesn't seem like it, but yeah. But yeah, that's some anecdotes for me from that era. It was a fun ride. It's a fun time. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. It's great. Golden era. Golden era.
You okay?
I am okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not bleeding or anything or dying, so yeah, that's fine. As far as I know.
I thought you were gonna like pass out from excitement at one point. I was like, oh gosh, what's happening? What's going on? So yeah. Should I go now, or Tropical still doing his? Because I don't know. I got lost when Tekken started Tekkening. So
I mean, like the story. My only PlayStation 2 stories were like basically at launch. I went with a friend to Target like the morning of launch, and there was like a line there, and I think we were 2 away from getting one on launch night. It was just like they cut off the line, 2 people in front of us, and like, oh, sorry, we don't have that many. It's like, no.
you should just start shanking people.
And so that was that. And I didn't have a car or anything, so I took the bus that morning to get there.
Oh my.
I don't think it was not a midnight launch, of course, because the buses don't run at that time.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was like,
Yeah. So my first PS2 was not a secondhand. It was a scalper one. I think I got it for 400. What was the launch price? Was it 300?
I have no idea.
I'll have to look it up.
Because my dad bought me mine, so.
So yeah, like someone had posted on a bulletin board outside my dorm. It's like, oh, PS2 for sale, and I was like, oh, because so what I had done is this was like the early days of internet shopping. So I think I bought them from like buy.com. You remember that site? I had ordered some PlayStation games. So I had PlayStation games coming to me, and I had them, and I think I had like a memory card and another controller, but I didn't have a system. And I had bought some DVDs too, because it was like, that was my first DVD player also. And so
oh yeah, I used to play those, didn't it?
It sucked that I did not get one at launch night. And it's like, well, so I have all this PlayStation stuff, but I have nothing. Like, they are not valuable to me because I can't use them. And then I saw that bulletin post, and I remember debating the price. It's like, wow, it feels like it's a lot more than just regular cost. But if I buy it, it makes things I already own more valuable because I'll be able to use them. And I remember, like, that's when I discovered that ATMs have like a draw limit per day. Because I had to use cash in the dark ages.
Before the advent of card.
Yeah. So it was just like, it was a whole thing, and finally I got it. I was like, yay, cool, and I bought it and took it back, and we just played, me and another guy just played like Dead or Alive so much. And I think like Final Fantasy IX was around that time. Maybe it was like 6 months later or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was the last one to come out because it like happened right before they released the PS2. So
like I remember reading somewhere that it played better on the PS2 with like the shortened like load, or not short. No, it was the smooth texture feature. So it like sort of smoothed it out compared to playing it on a PS1. And yeah, I played. Well, I just remember a lot of times like waking up in the middle of a battle because I'd been playing it so much, and be like, I wake up like, oh my gosh, how long have I been asleep?
Oh, crap.
It's like, well, no one's dead yet, so not that long. But yeah, it was amazing, and just like I remember, Gran Turismo I was introduced to Gran Turismo through 3. And that's around the time of that story where I was watching that other guy, and it's just like, why do you play like this? It's like, if you just turn, you could beat that car. It's like, no, I'm just gonna, grind it out. and then just get a better car, and then it won't matter.
All I have is a hammer. I'm using a hammer.
So I remember a lot of those types of nights, and eventually, like, there was a channel, an early website called Cyber Hippie Vision, sort of a precursor to game trailers, and I think it was just like run by two guys, and they would upload like game intro videos and stuff. And then my favorite shows were these ones where they'd just be playing versus in oftentimes it was Tekken Tag Tournament. But occasionally it was Armored Core. And they would just like play versus and just like chat. And I was like, oh, this is really neat.
A series that no longer exists because what was that for?
This is crazy. This is before YouTube. And they were doing this stuff. And like that's where I was like, oh man, Tekken Tag looks really cool. I want to get that one. But I couldn't find it or something. So I ended up with Tekken 3. Is that the one with Gong, the little dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I used
So
to love it.
I remember playing that a lot. I was like, this is ridiculous. What is happening?
So adorable.
But yeah, mostly in that era, it was DOA hardcore. And I played that a lot.
Yeah, the launch price of the PlayStation 2 was $299.
Okay.
It was 300.
Yeah, I think the
Which
draw
is
limit-
crazy, because that's only $50 more than the Wii.
the draw limit is around that at that time my ATM
think
would
it was
only
like-
allow me to take out 200 a day.
Yeah, I was just about to say, wouldn't it be like, yeah, I was gonna say it had to be like around 200 or
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I can't pay you now.
so. I can give you
I can
part of
pay
it
you
now, but
tomorrow.
tomorrow. It's like,
Or would you take a check?
what's a check?
The Dark Ages.
Man, glad debit cards are a thing now. It's so much easier.
Man, cause yeah, I guess like all of this gaming stuff hit me at that time, and because it was so amazing, like that, I credit that era as like why I'm this person doing a gaming podcast today, and like
PS2.
all of the gaming stuff that has happened to me is because of the PS2. Like when
I
the
mean,
PS3 came out, I
true.
was just insane. Like, so I didn't care. I was like, well, I want to get one on launch day, and since the 60 gigs are all out, I guess I'll get a 20 gig. But then, in addition to that, what was it? That was like 500 for just the console. I also bought 3 extra controllers immediately so
Oh
that
my.
we could play Marvel Ultimate Alliance at launch. So at launch we were playing a ton of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4-player. And yeah, it's like now thinking about that, it's like that's insane. Like that's so much money. I was working in retail. But yeah, from the PS2.
But you had
it's
to
just
do
like,
it, Tropical. You had to.
Gaming got into me from the PS2.
Cocaine.
It's like, oh, this is just everything is amazing. Oh yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was it?
No, 3. 3 is
Was it
PS2.
3? Was the first one on PS2?
Yeah, first you went on PS1.
Oh man, yeah, we played that a lot too. That was so good.
Man, remember that used to be a thing?
Yeah.
Most
Skateboarding
recent one
games.
because of DRM or something, or microtransactions. I don't remember the most recent one got like really bad reviews. I'm not sure. I don't remember why though. There is a reason though.
Just cheap.
You know.
It felt cheap. Yeah.
Man, Activision ruined. I'm sorry. That just like I just was seeing who published that, and it's like Activision. It's like they ruined everything. Everything.
We've established that already.
We'll get around to it. It's on my list. It's on my list. I'm just saying.
Oh dear.
F Activision. Ugh.
F them in the B.
I guess like that was the thing with Final Fantasy X also, and that was the thing back in the day with Final Fantasy. It was just like every time Final Fantasy was coming out, you'd see it and be like, "Is this real? Like they can make this?" and it's playable and it looks like that. It's like that is insane. What
It's
is
true.
happening in the world?
Although to go back and play them now compared to what screen,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
It's like,
this impressed me.
wow. I mean, 10's I feel like still looks pretty good. It doesn't
It
look
does.
like what
I mean,
games
you mean
does,
on
yeah.
PS2 or the remaster?
on PS2 even.
It still
I
looks
feel
good.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like, obviously not compared to
yeah,
to
exactly. It was like,
Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, but still, it's like, yeah, every time. And because we were less discerning about whether it had to be like gameplay, like we would just like look at those pre-rendered cinematic trailers. Like that was,
Oh yeah,
I think that's what got us on Final Fantasy VIII. Just seeing the ballroom
opening.
scene was just like,
Ugh.
what is this? And then 10, it was the scene where she's like dancing on the water.
oh yeah, the sending.
It's like, whoa.
Opening scene is really good too. With
Yeah,
Sin
just
when he
like
gets to Sin or gets
Everything
transferred
about
back.
Final Fantasy X is great.
Also true. You can break the damage limit. What?
Oh, man, that game. Oh,
Need some water.
I am not okay. I'm not okay. Final Fantasy X is like one of my favorite RPGs of all time, so it's like, and of course it came out on the PS2, so by there, it's just like, I mean, I don't know if Tropical is finished or not, so I'm not gonna start before he finishes, but
Nah, I'm good. Continue.
Oh. So yeah, so it's like the PlayStation was the console where I first discovered RPGs, but then the PS2 was kind of like where I found out that I love RPGs. So it's like there was so many games that came out during this time where there was action RPGs or turn-based RPGs or just RPGs and like the different kinds and everything. And it's like it kind of like gave me like this library of like never-ending just great games to play. And I mean, again, Final Fantasy X is one of my favorites of all time for the series in general and for RPGs in general as well, because it's just like it just had everything. It was like you had the graphics, you had the like the battle system, like and you kind of like customize your characters to how you would like, and it was just like a lot going on, and it's like you really kind of got invested in the characters, and just like this is great, and it's like all because of the PS2, because it's like you didn't have I mean the other consoles, I mean GameCube had some good stuff on it. I mean I played my Trauma Center games on there, so that one or the Wii, either way, I don't know. So yeah, those things. But Nintendo had their stuff going on. But yeah, so it's like that one. Kingdom Hearts, of course, was when this series started. So it's like after having played Final Fantasy, and of course everybody knows I love Disney. So it's like seeing the trailer for that for the first time, and I'm just like, I don't know what this is, but I do know that I need it in my life. And it's just like seeing the commercials and then seeing the trailer, I was just like through the roof. And it's like that kind of just like did it for me, when I was just like, okay, the PS2 is the greatest console to ever exist. It brought together Disney, brought together Final Fantasy. It's like there's never going to be anything better than this, and there wasn't anything ever better than that. There will never be anything better.
Do you remember how you found out about Kingdom Hearts?
It was through a commercial. I forgot what it was. I was just watching TV, and then like the first ad spot for it played or something. I was like, what the hell is this? And then it's like of course at the time it came out, I was like really young, so I was just like, so just to see, it's just like there's Disney stuff in this. This is weird. And it's like, oh, are those Final Fantasy characters? What kind of game is this? So then it's like, and then like it's Simple and Clean was playing in the background. And I'm just like, wow. I don't know what's happening here, but this is weird, but I kind of like it. So it's like I think I first saw it as the commercial, and I think I might actually saw like the full trailer like inside of a game store or something. I don't remember like the specifics around it, because it was a long time ago. But I do just remember like that feeling of having like seen the commercial. I was just like, what is this? What is going on? And then it's like seeing the little title card pop up, and then it's just like on the PS2. It's like I have a PS2, so I was just like, this is very, very excited. So yes, that was yeah.
Like I can't remember seeing an announcement or anything, or because like when I read about it today and people talk about back in the day, and I was like, there was a sort of like this fever dream when people saw it, and I was like, what? How is this? Is this real? How is this happening? They're combining Disney with Final Fantasy, and like people didn't believe it or thought it would be really bad, and I all that makes sense to me, but when I think about it, it's like I don't remember like seeing it announced.
Well, I don't think it could. That's the thing is like I don't. It wasn't like when I saw it. Like I said, it was like a commercial. Like I don't think because obviously like YouTube wasn't the entity it was.
Yeah.
So it's like we weren't just like scouring stuff. It's like, oh, somebody released this trailer thing. So it's like I don't remember seeing it as a commercial when I was like watching like a show or something, and then it was just like, huh, this is a new game or something, and then possibly, I mean, maybe it got featured in like a gaming magazine that was like popular back then, but I honestly don't remember because like I only remember seeing the commercial for it, and I was just like, so I don't think I had any like magazine subscriptions back then because this game came out like a long time ago. So
I
yeah,
was
I don't
like
think so.
with my brother, and we were at like a Sony store somewhere, and they just happened to be like doing some sort of Kingdom Hearts thing that day. Like I have a Polaroid of me and my brother with I forget her name. She plays Kairi, and the guy who played Riku. Like those voice actors were there, and we have a picture of them, and I have a poster from Kingdom Hearts 1 from that time. And I remember like not knowing at all what any of that was when we were there.
Sounds about right.
As a
Sums up
that's
the
weird.
plot
Like
of the
I don't
series.
remember any of this stuff.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think for the most part, I think that's kind of how. Well, I mean, that and just like wandering, I guess, through the game store and having to stumble upon things is how I kind of just bounced out. Because again, back during this time, there wasn't really like I don't remember any like type of like major game presence type of thing. And this is back when like game stores I just hired people who actually knew about games. So because
I needed them.
yeah, but because I remember like because I do distinctly remember like certain games that I have played, like there would be like I would remember talking to like some of the store clerks and be like, oh yeah, if you like this, it's like there's a series that I like that such and such happened and this and this and this. So it's like they were kind of explaining like, oh, that sounds interesting. So it's like I would pick up like a game in the series and kind of go from there because it's like otherwise you really wouldn't know. Like now obviously it's like with social media and YouTube and everything, it's like it's almost impossible not to find you know trailers, things like that if you want to. But back then it's like you had to. It's like it's either you just happen to stumble upon something, or it's like somebody basically told you about it. It's like, oh yeah, this.
Well, if you're reading gaming magazines.
Yeah, did you guys have gaming magazine subscriptions back then?
I did not.
I would randomly buy them or come across them.
Because I think I may have maybe just like flipped through one when I was inside of like a game store or something, but I never had like a subscription myself. Back then until I like got into like college or whatever.
I think they're pretty decent. I don't know. I'm trying to think. 'Cause I think there were like some good websites like back then as far as for like game releases. I mean, if they were like about to come out, not like years in advance, like now, of like, oh, well, this is in development. It'll be out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like any website.
I think IGN was.
IGN existed. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was probably GameSpot at the time.
Was it like GamePro, possibly?
GamePro, I don't remember ever like using their website. I remember their magazines. Yeah, at the time, because they also had an official PlayStation.
So I remember watching the E3 trailer for Metal Gear Solid 2 on GameSpot's website, and I was like, "This is amazing."
Oh, I bought their DVDs back then.
I think I watched it at my school because we didn't have internet, or we didn't have like as good internet. Would always watch like the good stuff that was like at school. Because it was like broadband. We didn't have it was like not good internet or something.
I guess there was also like a PlayStation Underground too, because you like got the demo disc stuff. So
trailers and stuff.
Because I do remember getting demo disc, and that's how I found out about some games too. It's like they had the demos of random things, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Little
maybe it had broadband, but it just wasn't as fast, probably.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The 90s? No, I don't think
we had
high speed until the 2000s. Never mind.
Because we had.
But then PS2 was like 2000.
Well, PS2 had the network adapter. Yeah. You had to like plug in your thing for that, but I don't think it was
that.
Man,
So
the time
calm.
was it?
Yeah,
So
it had
calm.
56K or
Yes, so
Budfest
calm.
or PS2.
The SOCOM nights, man.
I
That was another
understand you
thing.
guys played SOCOM. Like, I was not part of GAP
We
in that time
did.
period.
We played a lot of SOCOM. SOCOM game nights were kind of like another thing that kind of like solidified the whole PS2 thing for me too.
Oh yeah,
Because we had our game nights.
it was fun because like there's a bunch of different games that we had game nights for
Yeah,
besides SOCOM. SOCOM was just like the flagship.
yeah. Because once everybody started
It
branching out,
was like the only one that like really stuck around because there's other stuff, but just that was like the one that like was the consistent one.
yeah. Because I think even once 3 came out, people still kept playing 2, as like the main nights type of thing. So I don't think people like 3 as much for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So yeah, because 2 was definitely still like our main thing. Those are fun nights. I used to love SOCOM nights. Game nights were super fun. But yeah. So yes, as I what was I? Because Final Fantasy
Kingdom
10
Hearts. How you found out about it?
yes. Kingdom Hearts. uh, But yes, again, another one of my favorite series, obviously, as everyone knows. Make that no secret. But yes. But other stuff that I've enjoyed, the Shin Megami Tensei series, I actually started on the PS2, even though they had released. I don't know if those had come to the US by then, though, the ones from the PlayStation era. But Nocturne was one of the first ones I played. I think by accident actually, because like I picked it up because I was just like, this looks like an RPG, but I wasn't like 100% sure. Like I said, this was before the time where you could just like search things online on your smartphone or whatever and look for stuff. So I was like, and then like somebody and one of the game clerks had mentioned it or something. So I was like, oh, let me try this out. And get this. I also had to have my parents buy it because I was underage at the time, but it's not the point. So I did get that, and then that kind of introduced me to the whole SMT series as a whole, which gave me Digital Devil Sagas 1 and 2, which are also one of my favorite RPGs as well. And then of course Xenosaga came out on this platform as well. Sadly, it was ahead of its time, so it got neutered in the process, which made me sad. But it's like one of those things where it's like I'm glad it got its chance to at least somewhat find closure, even if we didn't get like the game in its full glory. But
I'm hoping that they do like a remaster for that, like they did with Dot Hack. It's like all the Xenosaga games. Just one
they didn't actually
thing.
do like Dot Hack, did they? They did one like GU.
They did GU. Yeah. They did the trio from the one after the quarantine series of games, I think.
That would be cool.
Yes, but yeah, I would love a remaster. I mean, I still have my physical copies of them, obviously, but I'm just too lazy to hook up any old consoles. So, so hopefully the PS5 is fully backwards compatible because then I don't have to do that. But yes. So but yeah, Xenosaga. That was another like great thing to showcase like the PS2. It's like the cinematic experience that was Xenosaga at the time when it was released, where it's like the whole thing was like this huge universe where they were just like showing you all these things and all this stuff was happening, and it's like all this lore, and then it's like you're watching all these cinematics, and then all this stuff is happening, and just like it was just like such an experience to have something like that on a console, because it's like I hadn't seen something like that before, because I mean most people weren't really like investing that much time into like making like these huge productions outside of like probably like Square Enix or something, but even then it's like you weren't getting like these. I think there's like 9 hours worth of cutscenes in the original Xenosaga. So that's a lot. That's a lot, guys. That's longer than most people's games. So it's like, so having an experience like that was also, I mean, I don't know if another console could have done that at the time, but it was definitely a very interesting experience, to say the least, to have something like that to experience as well. And then you know, there's other little games like the Ratchet and Clank series, Psychonauts, like something that kind of took me like a little break away from RPGs, but they were also like fun little distractions to do stuff while I was you know, kind of combing through all of the gems that were brought out during that generation. And then the Shadow Heart series is another favorite of mine, one that most people don't actually even know about. But it did spawn 3 games, so I mean, I guess it did decent enough. Well, probably because they probably loved it in Japan. Game is weird, so they so there was that as well, which so yeah. But yes, the PS2 is like my main kind of like RPG like powerhouse generation. So it's like I mean, I've played some great games since then, but it's like I don't think any generation has like matched that like level of quality since the PS2. But I mean, again, I've still played some great and some amazing games the past few generations, obviously, because I mean there are some great games out there, but it's just like that the amount and the quality is just like it's hard to match it after going up from there. It's like the golden age for like everybody, for all the genres during that time. So
All right, so I'm gonna go through my long list here. Sorry in advance. Okay, so starting off, we've got Ace Combat. Ace Combat 5 was amazing, and then eventually we got 0, and then 4 was on there too. But like 5 is just like it stands out to me. The Balkan War, or not the Balkan War, but like the Unsung War, I think is what it's called, or like whatever the Razgriz, that one. It's on PS4 as well, so go check it out if you haven't. Burnout, Burnout was like Burnout 3 Takedown, one of the best ever.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't know what happened. Whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. But it's like it was so good, and we don't have it anymore. And it's just effing EA, man. Effing EA. They're killing things and like, oh, we bought this studio. You're never gonna see. It's like basically it's a money. It's like I introduced the Final Fantasy X-2 last mission at Fun Prison last time. Well, if you get bought by EA, you're in a money prison. It's like, oh yeah, you've got all these resources, but you're not gonna be able to make the game you want to make and like release it because money, dear boy, money. It's like we gotta pump out whatever else we're pumping out, and not the game that you have, and then we're gonna like buy you and then actually like not use you, and then a couple years later you shut down, never to make anything else. Whatever. Frequency and Amplitude, a lot of cool music games in this era. Just like, oh man, that's cool. I mean, it was like it's a carryover from like PS1, like DDR and stuff. But it's like, that was just, yeah. And then we got, we had this gen with like Amplitude, PS4, that Kickstarter on, that was the thing. So that was a fun time. But it was back then, and it was online, and yeah, it was the whole thing. Beyond Good and Evil, a lot of people really clamor for this one. It's getting, it's got that sweet trailer, but we have like not really heard or seen a lot from it, so who knows. Dark Cloud, I'm sure RPG really likes this one. It was a very interesting like village building RPG. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game, and it works, and it's like that's like the stuff that they're able to do, and just like that, it's good stuff.
The 3 though.
Dance Central Edition's on here too. I mean, it was like it blew up on PS1, and then like I'm just sad because it's like a genre we don't see a lot much anymore. Like where's the music games? I mean, I guess they're here now. It's like it took a while, but like just it doesn't seem like it's as what's the word I'm looking for? Prolific as it was before. Devil May Cry. That was you may also notice this is in alphabetical order because I'm a nerd and I have my games categorized in my sleeve of games by alphabet. I'm sorry, whatever. But yeah, Devil May Cry, Dante Blast on the scene, sweet 3D action that has never been seen ever since. I mean, it has been like it's whatever. Like, that's not wrong. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, in the time though, it's just like you would never seen anything when Devil May Cry 3 came out. I mean, yeah, there's God of War, but it's like, dude. I have like come to this conclusion even after playing like the current God of War and like Devil May Cry 4. It's like, dude, it's just like Devil May Cry 5. I'm sorry, but like they're like two schools of like washa 3D action, and the Japanesey super awesome fast paced style is like way better than like the just oh, I'm Kratos and I'm just gonna like flog you with my limbs of Valhalla, blah blah blah, over and over, blah whatever. So just the style, the action, the speed, the shonen-esqueness of like, oh, we're brothers but we're fighting, and demons, we're hunting demons and killing demons. It's like, oh, it's so good, it's just and just man, Devil May Cry 2, dude. It's like I
Are we Devil May Cry right now?
Yes, we don't make crying. And like you've got
I love
Trish,
it.
and you've got Lady, and you've got Nero. Oh, you didn't have Nero yet, actually. But you have
Nero, yeah.
Dante, and you got Virgil, and it's just like, and they're brothers, and like there's this whole prophecy of like, what happens? It's just like and just man, and then the end of Devil May Cry 3 when it turns into like an effing fighting game, but you're playing an action game and it's a 1v1. Dude, come that far. That was just, so good, so good. Devil May Cry.
That series, man. That's another series that kind of kicked you in the face and just like, yeah, this is what games are like. I'm so sorry, game. Don't do this to me. I apologize. And then Devil May Cry 2 happened, and we're just like, oh, why? And then Devil May Cry 3 happened. They're just like, oh, okay, we were just kidding about that last one, guys.
I remember reading about Devil May Cry 2 and thinking, yeah, that's what I want. And then actually playing it and being like,
but it wasn't, said the narrator.
That's sad.
But it wasn't what you wanted.
See, I was like lucky because I had like read the things about Devil May Cry 2 and like I was like, this is weird. But then it's like it's like I kept reading stuff. I was like, I could not find things of like that were good about DMC2. So like I've still never played it, and
I wish somebody would have warned me because I was coasting off of that Devil May Cry high, and I was like, whoa, this next game is gonna be amazing. And then I played it. I was like, oh, well, this is not good at all. Good thing I was only renting it at the time because
Remember when that was a thing?
I'm about to say, remember when renting games was a thing?
Man,
so
this is back in the age of Blockbuster. Wow.
Man, I know.
This is insane.
So I was just like, this was just, oh my gosh. But yes, thankfully Devil May Cry 3 happened, so we can pretend like 2 didn't. And it's fine. It's fine. Everyone is accepting of that. But yeah, that series, man, that's another series that kind of like made people just like, oh, so this is how action
this is an action game.
Yeah.
Would you like to action game like you have never action gamed before? Oh yeah.
What? Yeah. Oh man, you never got above a B rank in your combos.
Man, Devil May Cry is so good. It's like you have a sword and you can shoot things, and like the scale of the enemies gets like so big, but then it's also like there's sometimes when they're like as big as you, but it's so good, and it's always done good. And it's just like so amazing, and just man, the scenarios and just the over the top, yeah, like and like the other thing it does that's like very anime shonen-esque is like it goes over 9,000, dude. It's like you're gonna jump off that building, and then like your momentum goes so fast, you create heat and you punch a hole through some giant demon and kill it, and it's just like so good,
yeah,
oh my god, so good.
The sad thing, the hilarious thing is, it's caused people to like escalate to that point where it's just like now, just like everything is just like so over the top. It's like, what is even happening right now? And like Platinum is pretty much like which I think some of them came from the Devil May Cry team, right? Is how that went, or something like that.
I'm not sure
because it's like, but yeah, it's
actually,
like now...
I think you're correct because I believe I'm not sure if they're from that team specifically, but I do believe they are holdovers from Capcom because when what was it, Clover Studios, I believe, yeah, when they're like putting out a lot of cool stuff like Okami and what's this God Hand? I was about to say what's the spanking game? God Hand.
What games have you been playing?
They were doing such cool stuff, dude, at the end of the gen, and then like Capcom was like, sorry dudes, you just didn't sell, so or not enough. We made money, but we didn't make all the money, or like quite as much money as we wanted to make, which is like too much money. So yeah, we didn't make Activision money, so we gotta shut you guys down, and you're out of here. So they're lost.
We got witches with magic hair that punch demons in the face and then fought angels, all the while taking baths and drinking tea. It was just like everything just escalated. Everything escalated, all because Devil May Cry was just like, see guys, this is how you action game. And then everybody's like, well, we have to do that but better, because otherwise people are going to think we're not good enough. So then they're just like, fine, we'll just add random crap, then put in some more giant robots, put in some more stuff, throw in everything. And then action games have never been the same since.
They have not, because DMC changed the effing game, and it was like, dude, you've got to get some of this cocaine. It is amazing.
Cocaine!
All right, after that, Disgaea was like a weird turn-based strategy RPG where you can like have panels and like do weird combos. It's a whole thing, like weird classes. It's weird. It's a whole it's a whole thing. Just look it up. You're on the internet already. The printies and like the way that Etna treats them and just so
It's
weird.
even weirder than he explains, guys. Even weirder than he explains.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, I would say 1 and 3, the sweet spot. It's like, like I said earlier, there were some good licensed games, and Budokai 3 was like, it's like, you'd think like, it's never gonna be a good Dragon Ball Z. I mean, we got, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but it's like, before Dragon Ball Fighter Z, it was like, this is it. This is the top. Tippity top. Oh, I said it again. Damn it. And it's like, it's never going to be eclipsed or just, but like this like set the standard for so long. It took that long to get another good Dragon Ball Z fighting game on the PlayStation console.
Making games is hard, Tekken.
I'm just saying, dude, Dragon Ball Z Budokai was so good, and then Budokai 3 was just like even better. It's like, that was like such a good golden standard, and then it's just like went all these years without getting another one until just now. It's just like crazy to me. I already said Final Fantasy 10 and 10 too, so that was just mwah, mwah.
Yes. Sin. Lulu.
Blitzball.
Yes.
Guitar Man. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
Not a
It was really interesting, Guitar Man, because it's basically just a game where you control where the stick's going, but it's like a very minimalistic, because it's like that's all you do is you just control the stick and push buttons. That
So like
Whatever.
every game.
I mean, okay, so essentially you're tracing a line on screen and like you're matching it to like with your thumbstick, and then you're pushing buttons to like hit notes on a guitar to like have these sweet guitar fights and like.
Or the age of guitar peripherals.
So it's like on the one hand it's like very basic, but then like the on-screen action, like when that is happening, is like so good. It's just just like one of the best cult hits I've played of just like this game is weird but in a good way, and just like so good. Yeah, God of War was also birthed in this era, and like it's still going strong. So it is, I guess you could say it has achieved legendary status over 20 years.
Boy! Have a name, Dad! Shut up, boy!
Grand Theft Auto 3 and other Rockstar games of the era, because man, GTA 3, what a lightning in the bottle game. Just like GTA 2 I really enjoyed like back in the day, and then like I played 1 as well, but like 3 was just a whole other thing, because it was like that was like not the first open world, but like in that genre, in that style, because like Shenmue with like before was kind of open worldy, but like it wasn't as like free roaming freedom like GTA 3. Like GTA 3 came, and it's like ever since has been like people have been trying to imitate and replicate the success, but like they say, there's been many that have been trying, or whatever that thing is. I can't think of it. Blah 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 blah. Many have come, few have whatever blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't know what it is, but that.
Yes, that thing.
That one. That's the one.
But three was the first, and then San Andreas like came along later, and it was like wow, just they were able to get that go from that to that fast, and it was just like amazing. And just like Tactical said, man, San Andreas it's still good, still great, and just I've only played through San Andreas once because it's a long effing game, dude. It's like a 70-hour romp. It's like I mean, I remember it took me months to play through Red Dead Redemption 2, so it's like I imagine like if I went back to play San Andreas now, I would feel like that, of like it took. I don't know if it actually take months, but it probably would feel like it took months. So it's like I really want to go back and play through it, but I'm playing through 3 again, so because 3 takes like not that long. But San Andreas, dude, it was just a whole thing. It's like every city was a different city. Like in 3, you just had like 3 parts of a city, but then it like escalated so quickly to like 3 different cities, and it's like what? And then like 4 came out, and it's like just basically a carbon copy of New York City, and then it's like 5 came out, and it's like, dude, like we have perfected the formula after years of study and practice. And yeah, like I said, other Rockstar games of the era, but there was a lot of hits from the Rockstar factory. So
All
Max
the
Payne,
hits.
Manhunt. I mean, at least the first one was like super controversial, so there's that. But I hear it's good. Midnight Club Racing, Bully. So yeah, just hit after hit after hit. This is when Rockstar became the powerhouse that we know now. So yeah, Gran Turismo 3. It was, man, it looked so good at the time. Just you're like, is this real? Is this what? But which is crazy because like now I look at it, and it is like they have achieved video realism. It's so good. And it's just man, just I spent so much time playing well, I guess yeah, both GTA 3 and Gran Turismo 3, but like it's so funny because like I still play like both those games like a lot. So it's just like yeah, it's I guess I'm sorry, I'm just going down my list here and just making me feel nostalgic of just like legendary franchises in series. Guitar Hero rip pouring out because man, Guitar Hero had like it was so hot of like an IP and a franchise and like reigned for like what felt like forever, but it was probably just like a drop in the bucket. And then like Activision in their hubris and like greed completely like tainted and ruined it and ran it into the ground. And we have okay, I can't say we haven't seen it since because we did get like the Guitar Hero Live thing or whatever that was that like recently came out, but did not have the same level of success. So lessons to be learned too. I guess we'll just call it a bit. This is going to be a bit of history as well, because man, what happened, man? Guitar Hero missing in action. Where have you been? Put them on the back of the video game milk box, because
Well, they do have that DJ mixing game that's coming out.
isn't that from
That's from Harmonix.
yeah, Harmonix,
themselves,
the
yeah.
Amplitude people, frequency people.
Whatever, man. There's gonna be weird music game, so enjoy.
Yeah, but you're a DJ, you're not a Guitar Hero, so.
I mean, they've had DJ Hero.
Oh, DJ Hero! I love DJ Hero. Man, I love DJ Hero too. It's so good. I'm sad because like I really wanted another one and like it's not happening. So I man, whatever. Moving on. Eco was also a thing. It was like a man. I thought. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay,
The escort simulator mission thing.
before you continue, is like when I was like looking through all these games and stuff and like overall like the, like just like the body of work on the golden age of the PS2. It's like it's weird because the games are still fun and like you go and play them and they're fun. Like the gameplay's there, but then if you look at like the story and the narrative and the characters, like compared to like the stuff that's out now, I would say it probably doesn't hold up. I mean, some of them are good or okay, but very, very, very few are probably like great or just like ah. So I mean, that being said, that probably can be applied to like games now too. I feel like after I had my whole like epiphany on the whole cocaine thing, it's like it does seem like the whole the gameplay is the main thing. It's like story, narrative, and characters is hard to like hit that mark. So less games do it, but it's like to varying degrees. Depending on who you are, it's like you'll find something that's like to you that game. So like I thought Eco was like so amazing because it was like basically there's a bit of dialogue and like a bit of setup, but besides that it's all gameplay, dude, and it's just like kind of very I think the most recent term people use a lot of times is ludonarrative dissonance, but basically just like from playing the game it's telling the story because you're just holding the lady's hand the whole time like RPG said, like escort mission simulator, and you gotta like escort this this lady around and like try to free her from this castle, and like and stuff goes down at the end and it gets intense and it's just like so good. It's just like what, and just like the way it just escalates and peaks and just like man, it is just it's a ride. It's like nothing else. It is like that's another thing about games of this era. It's like they're like definitive works of the medium of like you play it and it stays with you forever and like it makes you feel things like Eco and like holding Yorda's hand and like having your controller rumble and stuff and just like the things it does to you and just like the feelings you have when you step away from that game after you finish it and just just man, just the connection of like of a character that's just made of polygons and just like what you've been through with them and just so good. It's just like the things like yeah, how they were able to like just convey that or just make me feel that way. So good. Just man, just yeah, it's just it touches me in my heart when I think about it. So it's a very special place in my heart.
Glowy orange spot.
I hope my heart's not orange. That might mean I'm some sort of alien or something. Huh?
Possibly.
And then after that, I got Indigo Prophecy, which is basically the Quantic Dream origin story of like before Heavy Rain, before Detroit, before Beyond Two Souls, all the games I love from them. I mean, that being said, like my whatever. It's like, in my opinion, they just get better and better. So it's like, this is just where it started. Like I said, like a franchise that was born in this era, or like, a type of game that was born in this era, the whole choices. And I mean, I still haven't gone back. I played it, like, I think I played it through like the first chapter, so I haven't actually gone back and finished it. But like, it still is like the whole choice and thing and stuff and things. But I'll just go off of what Gamer says, and he's like, oh, it's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I still have yet to go beyond the first chapter. But it starts out so weird because like someone gets murdered, and then it's like you have some very ethical choices in front of you of like what the just happens at the beginning. It's like, so do I just like clean up this mess here and try to like
bathtub of acid. Listen, you gotta go all in on this. Grab a hacksaw, grab my tub full of acid, put some lining on the floor, get to work. Sometimes you gotta do dirty stuff to get the job done. And yeah, he goes to cleaning. It's cleaning tonight.
Okay. Oh man, but yeah, dude. Like the amazing works now of Quantic Dream would not have been possible, or maybe they would have, whatever. But like that's where they began. PS2, Golden Age. Jack and Daxter, Naughty Dog has made amazing games. I've been slow to like play them, but they have grabbed me and like done things to me emotionally. Geez, let me specify. Not anything like weird or anything, but like I've gone through some things. Last of Us. Whew, that's it. Whew, yeah. Whew, Last of Us.
And Daxter kind of went different places when they first started, because it was like this innocent little platformer, and then it just turned into something else. And it's like, this it's got a little dark, I guess. This is happening. So yeah, I guess it laid their groundwork for their future.
I guess so.
They're like, we're going all in now, guys. Going all
in. Katamari Damacy. That is like one of the most unique games ever made in Everdom. And just, you're the king of the cosmos, and you just got drunk one day and you knocked everything over, and you had to pick it up with a giant ball of crap. Or you made your son do it 'cause you're a jerk.
I was just about to say, he didn't do it.
That's and the song, oh yeah.
He made a mess, and you had to clean it up. Fix it, my dear prince.
Easily one of the most interesting and unique games ever to have existed.
Drugs will do that to you.
Cocaine is great for that one. It's probably rainbow colored and laced with like acid or some type of hallucinogen, I'm sure. Whatever cocaine Katamari Damacy
or all of them. All of the hallucinogens. All of them.
Alright, and then like I said earlier, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers and Return of the King, because some good licensed games came out in this era, and like some of them were really good. Like these, it's like, what? This isn't terrible. This isn't bad at all. And then they even like copied Final Fantasy X and made it like a JRPG of like Lord of the Rings. I never played it, and I always wanted to get it, but I like never got around to buying it. But like I hear it's good. I don't know Tropical because I don't know the name, but I do know that like it is a thing because it's basically Final Fantasy X with Lord of the Rings characters, and like they totally copied that game because like that's what the review said, and it's like, dude, that sounds like a fun time. I want to play that, but then back then I was not a adult that had a job, so I couldn't play all the games. This is also something that happened to me during this era. Like going back to, this is like a mid segment or like a mid talk thingy. I'm doing a spiel. I just talked whatever. But like I think this was like the era, or like close to the era when I became like a game collector for a short time. Because like at some point I was like, man, there's so many good games. And I just like started like getting them all, but then like I wouldn't be able to play them all. But then it's like And then like it didn't dawn on me until much later when I was like on YouTube at some point. I saw someone like a huge collection. I was like, dude, I'm never gonna catch up to that. Of like, it's not about collecting the games, Tekken. It's about playing them. If you don't play them, what's even the point? And there's like a great short story called Everyday Use. Look it up about, it doesn't matter about the giant collection of crap that you've built up over your lifetime. If you have never enjoyed these things, it's just a bunch of crap. And then if you don't enjoy them, you have not really.
Size that matters.
Yes, everyday things.
Okay, that makes sense. Geez, RPG, that just almost threw me off.
Wait,
yeah.
what were you thinking about?
Nothing. So yeah, some good license games and stuff, and those were two of them. And I'll look it up while Chapter was doing the news on like what that Final Fantasy X clone that is Lord of the Rings characters is, because I need to get it on eBay so I can play it finally. Margaret Cree Rise of the Kasai Margaret Cree has like this amazing, like, it's got one of the best stealth sequences in a game ever when you have to like sneak down into this tree that talks
That's
to you.
impossible because it's stealth.
I can't remember if it's a tree that talks to you, but like you basically have like this sequence where like there's something in the middle of this thing, a canyon that's like a giant circle and a bunch of different levels, and like you just have to like slowly sneak past all these guards and like kill them one by one, and you get to the bottom, and it's so satisfying. And then the combat is so cool because it's basically like each combo that Ro does, or Rao is like the main character, is like a focus on like a certain body part, and then like the enemies that you fight have like armor on certain body parts, so you have to like strategically take out the armor or like take out the limbs, and it's very brutal too. But like the way that the game's animated is just like it's very unique. It's so cool because it's like a shell shaded, but it's like also like stealth, but it's also very brutal combat. And like he does his executions, it's just like, oh, so good. Because he's a very hulking dude, so it's like he can like just take a dude or take a character and just like do these like really just brutal animations for like neck snaps and like stabs, and just like, it's so good. Just, man, so good. I was so glad I played it because I'd been hearing things for like a long time about it, and I got around to it, but I did, and I was like, yep, it hit the spot. I have not actually played Rise of the Kasai, but it is on the PS4, PS2, backwards compatible, or not backwards compatible, but like PS2 games on PS4, geez. And yeah, I mean, I think I have like hard copy anyway, but I just, like RBG said, I ain't got time for that because it's my PS2 is hooked up, and I'm not about to pull out of the closet and like try to. I mean, it doesn't have an HDMI port anyway, so it's not like I can just plug it in and play it. So there's that too.
Yeah, it's so much work. These things need to be backwards compatible, man.
As I said earlier, Metal Solid 2 and 3, because 2 is a mind F. It's like stuff's going on, and then like it's also Kojima just like trolling the fans, because it's like, oh, prologue mission, you're Snake, rest of game.
LOLs. Make it cartwheeling.
I mean, that being said, I like to. I wasn't one of the haters. I was like, I don't like Raiden, whatever. So
yeah, I like that game actually.
I was just super intrigued, dude. I'm like, well, I said this earlier. So like, so I was all about, just like the crazy cutscenes and just like the exposition dumping all the time. And by the end of that game, you have like no idea what's going on. It's just like, what is happening?
So
and then
Metal Gear Solid in a nutshell.
And then like the wait was so long between 3 and 4. It's just like, oh, that's the other thing. It's just like I said, the game, like the series was at its peak, and you're just like, 3 was so good. And then like the other thing that happened after 4 was like Kojima's always like, oh, I'm not gonna make any more Metal Solid games. It's like he kept doing this. It's like, I mean, like in hindsight, it's like, okay, well, obviously, like,
you kept falling
like,
for it.
And just like, I didn't know like the inside pressure, but it's like, dude, it's like, I was always wary of like, is there gonna be another one? Is this the last one? It's like, yeah, this is like the nice time before Kojima was all like, oh, I'm not gonna do it anymore. Where am I? Oh, is this the last one? Oh, yeah. So it's like, but yeah, it was like, 3 was like, 2 was like a whole like psychological like slicing your brain up and like putting it in a microwave and then like taking it out, putting it in a blender, and then putting it back in your head, and just like, what just happened? What? Huh? The end of that game is so weird. It's just, you crash in Manhattan on a giant Metal Gear and have a fight, and it's just like, the dude is like literally the president of the United States, and it's just like, what? So it's just, it gets so weird. It gets so weird. And there's some stuff with like AI too, and it's just like, dude, until Metal Solid 4 came out, and like I was still like not completely like sure like what they have happened, and then like it got explained to me, and I was like, dude, like that, like playing 4 makes me appreciate 2 so much of just like how just out there Kojima can just be and like do like whatever the f, and it can still work, and it's just like it's a masterpiece. It's
He's a cyborg now.
yeah, it's like it's oh my gosh, it's just like dude, just. And the other thing is, like, he made him like such a cool character. Of like, it's like a giant fu to like, oh, you didn't like 2? Well, guess who's like one of the coolest characters and like has a sweet cutscene where like he just like kills a bunch of dudes and stabs Vamp and himself at the same time. Yeah,
A robot.
how could you not like that? Micro machines or nano machines, I should say rather.
In 3, you ate snakes.
Oh, you literally ate snakes, and it's called Snake Eater, and there's a song that plays.
Snake Eater.
I bought Karaoke Revolution 3 just because it had Snake Eater in it.
That is great.
So awesome.
It's also a sequence where like you climb up I think I don't know if it's climb up or down, but there's a really
The
long
ladder.
ladder,
Up.
and like it also plays the song. Or it doesn't play the song, but like a version of the theme is like playing as you're doing it. It's like, is this really happening right now? It was just
Well, it starts as like sort of a haunting echo version of it, and then by the time you're like almost there, it's like playing the full song, and it's like, oh, this is awesome.
It also has like one of the
like Snake
Okay, I've
Eater because it's like the whole thing was one giant stealth mission. Just,
really
yeah.
RPG. Really.
Listen, man. They had me sneaking through the jungle trying to avoid people. Then I had to fight this stupid sniper guy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. He eventually died of old age anyway, so I'm just like, well, this all worked out for me, I guess. So I'm just like, this whole thing is just a mess. Whole thing's just a mess, guys. I have to sneak around again. I'm in the stupid jungle, and I have to eat stuff so I don't die. Oh my god, this is poisonous. Why is this poisonous? And then it's just like this whole thing. It's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. It's a fun time.
It's also got one of the best because Kojima has like a bunch of stuff in his games where it's like you can kill or be non-lethal. So there's like a whole section where like you're going through a lake and like it's like it's a river of blood, and it's like if you've killed a lot of people, it's gonna be torture for you because you have to basically go through all the souls or like buy all the souls of the soldiers that you have killed as you play through the game. But if you've played non-lethally, it's like no time at all, and like you get through like no problems in like no time. It's great. It's like one of the best like self-reflective. What are these choices you've done say about you, and how does this make you feel? Parts. I'm just like,
Makes me feel
that's
fine. They all had it coming.
RPG.
You to make me do stealth. Everyone's dead.
Oh man.
Now everyone's dead.
Or just like an interesting alternate like punishment of like, oh, you thought non-lethal was like not the way to go. You thought you just come in here and kill everybody because it's super easy. Well, how do you feel about it now? RPG clearly is like not unapologetic.
fine.
But,
Because everyone's
I'm sure
dead.
someone out there
Everyone's dead.
did regret their actions.
I regret nothing. I ate a lot of snakes in that game. It was payback. It's payback for all the snakes I had to eat.
Man, there's like interesting crafting system in that game of just like capturing the like wild animals and then like turning them into food or like whatever you can use them for, like health recovery and stuff, and just like the descriptions and like some stuff's poisonous, some stuff's not, and just super interesting on the survival simulation part. Monster Hunter, the worldwide smash hit that it is now.
Well,
Started
it wasn't that when it first started.
Yeah, it wasn't. There's also like no using
Analog
bracelets
stick
to attack because you use the analog stick. Yeah.
Talk about an awkward control scheme with a terrible camera to match. Good times. Good times, Capcom.
Oh man, that was a fun time. That game was a fun time.
We had
Yeah,
game nights for that too, actually.
we did. Yeah. Let's see. Need for Speed Underground 2. So basically, I just wanted to point this game out because, like, I feel like it's very analogous to the current games that they're making in the series. Because Need for Speed Underground 2 is basically like an open world. You drive wherever, and you can like challenge other AI cars in the environment. But then like besides that, there's like the overall story and like the missions that you're doing, or races rather. So like the story missions and stuff to like progress. I'm sorry, story races. Geez, to progress the story forward and like keep going. And so like, but like the I can't remember like what the specific like story is, but it's like you're a street racer in the city doing races, blah blah blah. So 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 it seems like to me, if you look at like the most recent one that's just like self-titled Need for Speed with like the open world, like the FMB cutscenes, that was like the best one in my opinion of like the most recent ones, and like they did try to like keep doing that formula, but like not as good. I feel like that is very analogous to Need for Speed Underground 2, where that was like basically the game, but like not as FMB cringy, and like not as many cars, and bricks in it. So that's the thing. And yeah, but then there's like a cool thing, and like the first Need for Speed Underground, they had like the whole wow, I can't even think of what they're called now. Drag racing. Jeez, I'm so like, what are you doing in cars? But like basically, it's like around the time of Fast and Furious, and basically, I think that people like worked on the production also like were consultants for this mode. But basically, it's just like a really good take on like just going in a straight line and like racing drag race style in a car, and just like the effects at the time, and like visually it looks so good, and just I don't know why they like haven't brought it back since then, because it was pretty cool, dude, and like it should come back, and like I think it would be a hit, and like with the Fast and Furious crowd, people just like simple basic racing stuff, and they'd probably like it. Um, Next up, Onimusha, which has like not been seen since PS2 era. What the F, Capcom? Like seriously. I mean, we just got like the remaster, but still, it's a cool thing with like samurai who fights demons. In the third game, he gets sucked into a wormhole into the modern era, and all hell breaks loose, and it was like amazing. And just it's funny because I played through like 1, 2, and 3, but like I don't really remember 2. It's just like 1 and 3 really when I think about it. So it's like, but 3 is like one of the best opening cutscenes like of any game ever, and it's just like so amazing, and just yeah, it's so good. I think there's like a fourth game, I never played it, and there's also like something else, but Onimusha was like birthed in this era and just like has not been really revisited
and died
since.
in that era.
So I guess this could be my new dream game every E3 of like, hold out hope, Capcom will bring it back or remake it. And Demons in the Modern Era, that I mean they already have Devil May Cry, but I mean Capcom had like so many cool games in that era. There's like the Demon Siege, or was it called Demon Siege, or there's some other game with like demons and like units. Chaos Rain, I think it was called. Jeez, my brain just does. I'm sorry, listeners. I just like spew stream of consciousness when I'm talking, and then only as I'm listening and talking at the same time. It's like I don't have a break, so I can't just like stop, and then I'll just like think of it and I'll say it, and I was like, oh, that was dumb, so sorry. But yeah, that would be cool to get some sweet Onimusha new action, or not, whatever, no big deal. Psyops, this was like a cult hit as well. People say a lot of things. I have this, but I have not played it. But I'm sure eventually I'll get around to it. And like if backwards compatibility is a thing, whatever, we'll see. You got this dude who's got like minimal mind powers and like shoots things, and it's a whole thing. So maybe one day, because like RPG said, I got time to pull out my PS2 and hook it up. So. I mean, I do, but it's like, why would I do that when I could just play Monster Hunter or Destiny? So it's not happening. So, Ratchet and Clank also this was birthed in this era. Insomniac, lots of good stuff since then. So yeah, good job, Insomniac. Keep up the good work. Red Faction had a cool gimmick of like shooting through walls in a first-person shooter game to like actually go through the walls. It was called Geomod, I believe was technology. So like that was a cool thing.
Yep.
I think there've been like multiple entries since then, but like it was by THQ, but then THQ got closed, and then it's a whole thing of like who owns the rights and who's the studio behind it making it now. So it's like, but then like the most recent game I believe was like either not good or didn't sell well. So it might carry on, it might not. So whatever. I already gushed over Resident Evil 4, so I'll just skip on and keep going. Oh, Resident Evil 4. I'm sorry, just like every time I think about it, it's just, man, it's like sometimes you think a franchise is dead, and then Resident Evil 4 happens, and it's like it's brought back. But then 5 and 6 are like, so you're like, what the F? And then people say the good things about 7, and I buy all of them, so I have it, but I haven't played it, so scary in VR, so I'm sorry. Eventually, maybe. Rez, R-E-Z, uh, Tetsuya Mizuguchi, his amazing rhythm and music game experience. Hard to describe. You're like on rails doing things. It's the music is still amazing though, because like they just brought it to the VR thing. And so yeah, another game that is like has risen like a phoenix after like no new stuff. And we got the VR game. It was great. I played it. I was like, oh, so good, so good. And then like playing it in VR, and you just like look around and like have like the 360 degrees of vision. Loved it. Shadow Class is basically similar to Eco, as like you are doing things and it makes you feel. I mean, probably an RPG. He probably feels nothing for what he did when he killed all these gods in Shadow Colossus. As you go on this quest, you save your good pal, and then things happen, and it's like it's super weird at the end. It's like what? Like yeah, like Eco, man. It's just very very similar. It's just like you do things, you go through things, stuff happens, and it's like what? And just woo, man, emotions. Shinobi, I put this on here because like back in the day when this came out, it was very divided. It was polarizing. Some people loved it, some people didn't. And then like it got a sequel, Nightshade, which was like the same thing, and then people complained of like, oh, it's more of the same. So I feel like Nightshade didn't get a fair shake because people were already like, oh, it's more of that. F that game.
Are we talking about the Shinobi series of games now?
I mean, not the series, just as much like the PS2 version that like brought it back after like a long hiatus, and it was like, oh, you can like chain all these enemies together when you slice them, and
I remember that. That was such a pain in the butt
and it's like
thing. But
if you do it, and they all just like go and get cut in half, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. It was like it's so good, and then it gets so hard, and it's like so
it was
rewarding.
Dark Souls before Dark Souls was a thing.
It was. There was like so many running sections where you can just like get hit and like fall and die, and just like it's one of those games where it's like stage 4-1, 4-2, so it's like segmented of like, oh, you thought you were done, you're not, and then like a boss, it's like, oh, boss scene, it's like, oh, you're gonna be like this game, and just like it's like RPG said, it's weird because I really like that game, and like I played it a lot, and I very much enjoyed it, but I think that's just because I like the tate or whatever it's called mechanic of just like and then like you slice the last dude, and they all get sliced. And it's like ow, it was so cool. The style points through the roof, so good. Also that opening cutscene like jumps off the helicopter, so good, still so good. Already gushed over Sly Cooper, Spider-Man 2. Oh man, it took like 20 years to like get like a decent another Spider-Man game. Just saying, so. Well, I guess this was Treyarch, so good job, Treyarch. You still make good games, and Activision.
Rude.
Hopefully, we can just keep you away from any Marvel stuff because that would probably be ruined and milked into the ground with microtransactions. So, but man, it was a fun. It's a great game because it's like I said earlier, like licensed games did exist at the time that were like not terrible, and you basically play through Spider-Man 2 the movie, and it's a game in game form, and it follows it basically pretty faithfully, and like and then after you finish the game you get like extra stuff. It's great. So yeah. Splinter Cell was around in this era. I very much enjoy it now, and I'm missing it. This is like a personal for me because like back in the day I didn't really care about Splinter Cell. I'm like the only playing I was like more a mugshot fan, but then like lately it's like I really do enjoy like sneaking around and shooting people in the face and stabbing them. And and the storyline for Conviction is so good, dude. It is like so good and relevant, like literally, like at this point in time. I mean, I don't know what was happening with like Third Echelon and like the VP, but like, dude, or like why that like, or like how the whole PMC was like able to like come into power like that. But like, I'm just saying things are happening to where it's like this is seemingly irrelevant. Of like you would want some dude that's like expertly able to like kill people and like go through like giant swaths of them like unharmed and just like stealthily dispatch them and like save the day in like a situation where like an EMP goes off in DC and like there's no power and it's like what and just good setup, good set pieces. I mean right now I'm talking like more about like the future version of like Splinter Cell, but it came to pass in this era. I mean it was like a time exclusive whatever, but it came to PS2 eventually, so whatever. We already gushed over SSX. Star Wars Starfighter. And Tricky. Oh man, hold 1 second. Okay, like so yeah, that would be another game I'd like to see come back. It's like, it hasn't been a new SSX in like a while. I think PS3 there's like that one, but it was like completely different than like what it was before. It was like, disaster, outrunning disasters or something. I played it for like a bit. I was like, this ain't the same. And I was like, yeah, eject, off ramped. Didn't really play it too much, but it deserves another crack, EA. But I don't really trust you to get it done right. So whatever. Star Wars Starfighter, the last game that was somewhat similar to like a Rogue Squadron type game, besides that VR thing that we got like way later. So still holding out hope someday, but whatever. I mean, Dreams is his thing. I can just go into Dreams, I guess, and see if anybody has any like sweet space sim action combat stuff. Whatever. Sci-Fi Filter the Omega Strain. So I put this game on here because like it does a lot of things that games do now. That like, if you look back, this game was like way ahead of its time and didn't, in my opinion, get a fair shake. It was online co-op, and like you had stuff you could do on like each mission that was like very contingent on like what you had equipped. Like, do you have a sniper? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm just gonna like the first stage because like I'm gonna get like way too into this if I like keep going. So essentially, first stage there's like an attack and like there's some dude in the subway and there's like whatever. But if you're and there's like stuff you can do to like kill a dude fast or like get to him fast or whatever, or like you find him at the very end and it like takes a lot longer. So if you're playing co-op, you can like help other people and you can get to other parts of the level faster. Like you can boost them up, they can pull you up, and then you're like accessing different parts of the stage like way faster than if you like are soloing it or like you're not helping each other. And so like if you're doing that and like you have like really good guns and like or just better weapons or just like powerful weapons, you can get to there fast, take the dude out. I can't remember if it was time based. It's probably time based. And then like you get that sweet. I think it's a loot drop. I don't remember correctly. I'm probably misremembering it, but like you get like better rewards somehow from like doing like all the good stuff. Like if you're helping people and like getting like the kills before time runs out and like doing all the objectives. Oh, there's a bunch of objectives too. There's like objectives, there's bonus objectives. There could be even secret objectives. I don't think there are because that's like super trolly and I feel like F that crap. But man, this game is like before its time and like another game that's like from back in the day we have not seen Cypher Filter for like a long time. And it's a first party property. So it's like, Sony, what are you doing? Like you're just sitting on this thing and like it can be a thing.
Maybe there's like other things preventing it from happening.
I guess I could be too, but like I'm just saying like 4-player co-op is hot right now, and like don't just make a turdy, give the service Disney cha-ching machine. So
do it, make a cha-ching machine. It's what we all crave. Electrolytes.
Go back to the original. Look at the things it did. Look at the things it was trying to do. It's super influential. It's ahead of its time. And just take that and then crank it up to 11 and spit one out and be like, or maybe just like have like a free to play. We're gonna test this out thing. I don't know. I don't care. But it was so good, dude. It was so ahead of its time. I played this as a gamer, I think back in the day, or Lay Loken. I don't remember, but like, dude, it was a fun time. And like, I would like to have more fun times in a 4-player co-op game that's not Borderlands. I'm not saying like.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm just saying. Borderlands doesn't need to be the only 4-player.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just saying. There's plenty of room for more 4-player co-op games. So
Remember Dead was a thing.
When what?
When Left 4 Dead was a thing.
Oh yeah, Left 4 Dead. Yeah, that yeah. I miss that game too, but it was never on PlayStation. Was it? It was not on PlayStation. Oh, it was on PC.
It's not.
Played
and
it, so.
360. Yeah, it's on PC 360.
I'm just kidding. When I had a 360, yes. I don't anymore.
Tekken 5 I put on here because basically Tekken Tag was amazing, Tekken 5 was amazing, and like it's turning into like every odd number Tekken is like really good, like 357. So it's like I'm just saying the consensus I've drawn from this looking back and the first tag. I mean Tekken Tag 2 is pretty good too, but Tekken Tag was amazing and it started on PS2. Just want to play that up. That's nice fun idea. They're like, oh, what if we had tag mechanics, and it worked. So tag 3, just hope it's in the works because I thoroughly enjoy Tekken Tag, so I would like to see another one. And I already talked about Time Splitters. Beautiful Joe, hitching a go-go, baby. So,
He's cheating again.
Jeez.
I'm just saying. I mean, we're doing this. Do
Okay,
it right.
fine. It was also like It was also originally exclusive to time exclusive for GameCube, and then Capcom brought it over. But it's been a long time. It was of this era, and I would like to see another entry.
Don't be trying to steal Nintendo's thunder.
It deserves another entry or whatever.
All of those games those two were announced as GameCube exclusive, like never to be on other stuff.
Before the lies began. The truth behind exclusivity.
Well, the power of 100 million units sold knows very little equal tropical.
Money, dear boy, money.
Which is why I'm hoping Phantasy Star Online 2 sooner than later.
Well, I think they already said that one's a time exclusive. They just never said how long.
RPG PS5 coming out soon.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to wait, okay?
No.
Lucky they even localized it at this point. That took like 20,000 years to begin with.
I don't know about 20,000 years.
Shut up. 20,000 years.
Virtua Fighter 4, specifically Evolution though, because like when Virtua Fighter 4 came out, I was like, it's a long story, but basically I had not played Virtua Fighter since 2, and I like was super into games at this point, so I was like, oh man, I want to get really good at Virtua Fighter, and so like I played a lot of 4. I played a lot of 4, and then I think Evolution came out, and it was like originally not going to here, but then like it dropped here at like a discounted price, and I got it and I played it, and it's just like it was just a fun time. It's so good, and it made me appreciate the genre and the game itself, because Virtua Fighter 4 is like a masterclass in like how you do video game tutorials for fighting games. There are so many like tutorials in that game of like how to do this thing if you're against the wall, if you're in a throw or not in a throw, if you're in a grab from a ground position, from a standing position. It is like the most comprehensive and systematic like teacher game for a fighting game of like how to do things in like each scenario, and just like I don't know why more games don't do that, but it needs to be copied like more, and just like there's also ways to like just go like point by point through that mode, and just it's masterful. It's amazing. It's so good, and just like playing that made me just like it's like yeah, Virtua Fighter like will forever be like in my brain, just like because I've like been able to like see all the layers of depth and like go through all the layers of depth in like a game like that, because it like held my hand the whole way. It's like I will forever like see it just like as like such a just like like mind-blowingly deep game of just chess piece movement, every click, every button push, every stick push, every tappy tap of the buttons.
Back when they taught you how to get good. But now they're just like, good luck, and don't screw up. It's like, oh, thank you, game.
It's like now it's just like, okay, well, you've reached max level. You can currently do in-game activities. What are those? We don't know. We're not going to tell you. Find out on your own.
And then you play online and realize you're trash, and then you cry about it and rinse and repeat for infinitum.
Xenosaga, which we've already gushed about, because man,
before its time.
Yeah.
That the remake is not going to happen, but to each his own.
It's like maybe if Final Fantasy remake does like a gajillion things like we all know it will sell, and like they'll be like, you know what?
No, they already shot down They already shot it down. The Xenosaga thing. They mentioned it before. They're just like, we brought up the project before, and yeah, it's not happening. So yeah.
But maybe they changed their minds. It could happen. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy VII sold a lot more copies than Xenosaga did, so it's easier for them to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna remake this. So yeah, unfortunately, we'll probably never see it, but one can dream.
And then Yakuza, which has actually been remade. Kiwami.
Times.
So it's like I still have my copies on PS2 that I've not played, and I've downloaded. Well, I haven't downloaded, but like 3+ I've gotten.
You've got, yeah, I was about to say you would have gotten
The free ones. So it's like I have the old and new, but I've still yet to play any of them. So
Yeah, those games are weird. I mean, I've played some of the free ones. I'm just like, this is
I think I stopped buying them after 4. I want to say because I was like, like back in the day, we weren't sure if we were going to keep getting Yakuza like in the West. So I was like, I got to support these.
Yeah,
and
Gamer was
now
like really big on that.
And now it's to the point where it's like I'm good because it's in good hands and it's got a fan base and it's going to be completely supported. That being said, they turned into a turn-based RPG, so it's like who knows, whatever. But
I mean, even before that though, I mean, it was basically like it was like a RPG with just like action instead of like the normal turn-based. Because I mean, you still had like random battles on the street, which was weird, by the way. Like whoever thought that was a normal thing. It's like I walk out of a convenience store and then they're just like, haha, we want to kill you. I was like, I don't even know what's happening. And then it's just like you have to start beating the crap out of random people. I'm just like, this is a very unusual battle system for this type of game.
It's like this guy that we're seeing from in-game.
Exactly.
You took everything from me. I don't even know you.
It's like, you will. It's like, will I though? Because you kind of just showed up. Don't know what's happening, guys.
Like, but you never said your name. How am I supposed to know? You just kind of beat me.
You're pile driving mailboxes into someone's face. Yakuza. Then there's that one time you fought a tiger. Yakuza.
And lastly, Zone of the Enders, because like Tropical said, there's big giant robot action games in the Zone of the Enders, because it's like, dude, you've not played a big giant robot action game until you played Zone of the Enders, because it's basically like all those things I said about Devil May Cry, and it's just like that. It's basically that, but with giant robots in space, and it's like what? I mean, specifically Second Runner, because Second Runner, so good, so good. Like you get the little laser thingies that shoot out when you lock on. It's just like and then later on you get like a gun that shoots, and it's just like you just hold the button down, and you're just like it's and there's a giant battle. It's like
giant battles, guys.
You and a bunch of units, and it's like, oh man. And if you know what happens, you get like a good or bad ending and like a good or bad rating on that part. And it's just like, it's so good. It's truly epic. It's truly great.
They should make a new one or give me Armored Core already.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, because it's a Konami game. So
yeah, that's true. Konami.
This is before the Kojima Screwjob and the Konami showing their true colors, and we like no longer support them. At least I don't. It's like they don't get none of my money.
I see your true colors.
When I see the sales in store, I remember what Konami did, and I will never forget. But yeah, that was my list of all the things of the golden age of PS2 and stuff. So yeah,
PS2 is just wonderful. Why can't they just remake that entire generation, but like on PS5 generation? I would buy all of the games again.
I would,
without hesitation.
I wish there was some way that we could automate that process so that they would be. I mean, I don't necessarily want all those games to be exactly the same, but then if that's, the easy way to bring them forward, then okay,
they probably would have to do some updates to kind of, help the times, but but it would be nice. It would be nice.
It makes me remember, I don't remember what specific game we're talking about, like a PS4 era. It's like something was getting remastered, and I was like, you know what? Just remaster all of them. It's like I'm just like, you know what? That's like, people would complain about like the whole Hollywood only remakes things and makes sequels, but it's like, dude, this is completely different. This is like apples and oranges to that, because it's like
just don't fix what's not broken.
Just look at the original Metal Gear Solid and look at Twin Snakes. Look at Resident Evil. Look at the remake. Look at Resident Evil 2. Look at the remake. Resident Evil 3 remake. Final Fantasy 7 remake. It's like it ain't the same, dude.
Don't act like you don't love it, guys.
Video games is not the same. It's apples and oranges. It's like they couldn't even have like some games don't even have voice ID like Final Fantasy 7. Now they do, and it's like completely different. Banter, they effing better. I mean, I'm just, I'm just going off of like what chapter called on RPG6. I haven't played it, but like I mean, not like I was going to like not buy it anyway, right? So it's like
They have answer, guys.
So
and some people are masters of unlocking, so it's all just yeah.
It's like the graphical improvements you can make, and then like the scenarios and stuff, and yeah.
Yes, there will be blood.
Maybe.
Lots and lots of blood.
But, yeah, it's like I may not be a proponent of remakes as far as like movies and TV shows or whatever, but I'm a proponent for remakes when it comes to video games because man, golden age, and like just dip into that, and, like make something awesome again. I mean, sure, video games are hard to make, so it's like not always gonna be easy, but I'm sure it's easier than starting from scratch.
I don't know, because it's like I guess in some cases they would kind of have to. So it's like, I mean, the only thing you would basically have in place for stuff like this is like you already have like a story and everything and whatnot, but then you still kind of have to build everything from the ground up, really, because it's not like you're just upscaling it or something. You're like full on, like Final Fantasy VII did not look anything like that when it first came out, so pretty sure they had to start all over. They just have the basic framework for everything because it's like, oh yeah, we have the story, we have the characters, like we have everything there. We just have to now make it in a completely new engine on a new console.
Well, I mean, like conception, brainstorming, easier. That's done. Yeah. It's just the actual. What
the actual making it is way harder.
Making games is hard.
But yeah, PS2 Golden Age, we knew ye well, and we will always cherish you.
Yeah.
The best of times. In the age of awesomeness.
Before the darkest timeline.
Before the darkest timeline. That is true.
So let's see. It's almost 3.5 hours. Let's do these quickly. Yes. I got 3 news stories. One, Control is on PlayStation Now, which is crazy because it was quite recent and very critically acclaimed. And now, if you're on PlayStation Now, you can just like download it today and play it, which is what I'm gonna do. The other one that caught my eye was Wolfenstein 2, which is also really new. Is it? I'm not sure.
I think
there was a new one recently. I don't know which one it was though.
It was Wolfenstein 2. It's pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah, there's just like really new games that are coming out on PlayStation Now, and I have all the streaming services right now. I got GeForce Now and Stadia, and just like the comparison is like, well, here GeForce Now is losing games. Stadia has not really gained any games, and PlayStation Now, I've been playing Ni no Kuni, and next I could play Control on here if I wanted to. It's just very stark for me. Ghost of Tsushima, they announced the release date today. It's gonna be June 26th.
Samurai violence.
Yeah, whole bunch of different versions you can buy, as is normal for games now. So if you're interested in pre-order type stuff, they have posted all of that.
It's actually perfect timing because when I made up that I forget what I was calling it, like the MCU for like Sony's PlayStation stuff, like I think I had that penciled in for like next year, but then it's coming out this year, and then I think that's like the end of this phase. So it's like PS5 phase is coming into play already, so that's good stuff. Perfect timing.
Finally, today they also announced that PlayStation Productions is going to be partnering with HBO to make The Last of Us into a series, being co-written by Neil Druckmann, who worked co-creative director on the games, and also Craig Mazin, I think, who was the helm guy on the Chernobyl series.
Good. So now I'll never have to play the games and people can leave me the crap alone.
That's not how that works.
It's
I
hard to
feel
tell.
like it does.
But yeah, in the announcement they say that this is the first of many, I guess, productions that PlayStation Productions and HBO are gonna work on together, and yeah, there's no date or anything, so that kind of sucks. But it's kind of cool that that is happening. And then, as an aside, I guess like Antonio Banderas is now part of the Uncharted movie, which is on its, I believe, 7th director.
Yeah.
Hard to
looking
say what's
great.
gonna go on with that, but the Last of Us news sounds quite promising, even though it's very sparse on details, and it's like, yeah, that is the news that I got.
Wasn't there something about GDC being canceled because of the coronavirus stuff?
Was that this week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, GDC got canceled. Or
So-
they didn't cancel, they said it's postponed. They fully intend to do one in the summer, but
Okay.
they
Well-
don't know if that's gonna happen, because it's just like
yeah.
GDC is really expensive to go to. It's like the tickets themselves are in the thousands.
Yeah, I heard they're like I heard it's like infamously expensive
Yeah.
for
And then just like to cancel it, refund everyone, like it's a whole thing, and it's like international, so there's all this international travel for it as well, and hotel booking, and just like it's a big thing. Like usually they announce GDC for the next year very quickly after the prior GDC, and so it's hard to say how it's gonna go down. And like the hope is this whole virus thing will end by the summer, but there's just really no way of knowing that. And so I guess like they want to have this, like it's not just sort of like, oh, you go there and you learn stuff. A lot of indies go there to meet face to face with like publishers or people who might have money and pitch their games, or they go to the platforms to like see if they can work out exclusivity deals to get some funding, and just lots of different things. And since none of that opportunity has basically kind of, if not 100% disappeared, just like fizzled to less than what it could have been, it's yeah, it's a bigger loss than it seems initially.
Then there's rumblings that people are looking at E3 now to see
Yeah.
how that's gonna go, because LA is currently in like a state of emergency or something.
Yeah.
So now they're worried
Yeah.
that like E3 might not even happen.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be the case as far as like any convention this year.
Yeah. Like apparently Netflix and Apple pulled out of South by Southwest, which I believe is in Texas every year.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah. So, the stuff is still going down.
Yeah,
Convention
'cause
season may not happen. GDC like was canceled during PAX East, which people were at.
because people were still posting about PAX.
Yeah, but
while that was
then-
going on. So
They pulled out of those. I think it was like a Comic-Con somewhere that a bunch of big name comic people have pulled out of. So, yeah, it's what it is.
it's
Actually, I got my E3 registration email today, so they still have not canceled. But
Oh, yeah.
we'll see what happens.
probably not officially yet, but they're still.
It could still happen. I mean, I know it could still happen. It's just like we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that would be, man. 2020 is like sucking so hard right now. It's like if E3 gets canceled, it's like that's just like one less thing to be excited about for me.
Well, I mean, they can still like some of these developers can still like.
I
well,
mean,
I don't
yeah,
know
it's
they can still, like, do
salvageable
the
because like they could
digital
all just do a
stuff, but-
digital event. Yeah, it's like it'd be like an
but-
all digital E3. That could kill E3 though, because like they'd be like, we don't need to go to E3.
Well,
We spent all this money.
maybe It should.
I mean, I know RPG has your whole thing about I'm too old and yeah, but I mean, I guess it could work for the better. I'm still hopeful. It's like even if it does die and go away, it could work for the better. But Whatever, man. So 2020
Disney
Conflu,
Conference Directs.
Conflu, but you die edition. So yeah.
I mean, the death rate is only. I mean, the chance of death is only 3%. You have a 97% chance of not dying. So I mean, the odds are in your favor unless you're playing XCOM. Like you're okay. So it's like.
That's a good point. I mean, the flu is still not a fun time though. So
yes, it is not.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah, you're not gonna necessarily die.
It's a weird one because well, I think the main thing is that you can spread it with no symptoms.
Yes, it's very easy to spread. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's
so
it doesn't take much.
People are like, well, yeah, I think that's the main thing, and there is a name for it. We call it Conflu, and so we know that going to conventions
it's
like spreads a lot of disease.
Yeah,
and so it's like, well, we don't necessarily want to do that.
Bunch of people packed in a closed space, poor circulation for air, just like everybody's touching and taking pictures. It's just like a big old cesspool of death. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? But yeah, they've been, because even like one of the major music festivals got canceled down here too. So it's like they've kind of been everybody have just been panicking. So it's been a whole thing. The people are still chill, but all the conference people are just like, no. Meanwhile, everybody else is just kind of walking around chilling, just like, yeah, I mean, I guess this is bad, but I'm gonna live my life.
As long as I still get my PS5, I'll be happy. But if supply shortages happen because of this,
I just about to say, I was like,
no, that was the one shining beacon of hope in my ear. That's been ruined.
Where a lot of people manufacture their stuff, it's gonna be up in the air how that goes.
I think I would be cool if like there's a PS5 exclusive game, but they have it on PlayStation Now. So even if you can't get the system immediately, like you at least you can play it.
We'll see. We'll see how this all goes.
Yeah, that's really the thing.
Again,
but no, I don't think it's full panic mode yet. But on the other hand, I think it's different for like convention planners, where it's like, do we want to be ground zero?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of people being cautious, which is good because again, it's very easy to spread.
Yeah, it's like we could gamble, and we might not be ground zero, and then it'd be fine. But if we
like,
are
nope,
ground
we'll take
zero,
our chances.
like, will we be able to do this the year after, or will it just be the last E3?
Yeah, because then nobody's gonna want to go next year because they're like, well, a lot of people got sick in this last one, so hard pass, guys, hard pass. Then attendance really is gonna drop then. So better safe than sorry.
E3 killed by the coronavirus. Victim number.
More conferences are dying than people. So,
For now.
But again, it's better safe than sorry. So, people wash your hands, wash your butts, and make sure you don't be gross.
No touchy, no sneezy.
Without the washy.
That's gonna be my sign-off on this episode.
All right. Well, yeah. That's if there's not any other news, I think that's the news we have. We're gonna end on that one.
Anything to say before we sign off, RPG?
I'm still bad.
Anything to say before we sign off, Tropical?
Nope. I'm good.
Alright, so that was it for this episode of Aimless Babble Z. Check us out. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever the F else on the internet we're at. And until you see or hear from us again, we're now signing off. No touchy. What was it? Something sneezy. Without the washy.